Pose and Sam was our team in the Mike also. So I know the American Tornado, what they say about their Discord or whatever thing. But one thing I one time say to them, you guys killed Overwatch League at the season 6 because you guys hate to play against like a one-shot hero, like a Hanjo, Sojan, Kiriko kind of. That time, Philadelphia choose every single time Glady at the season 3. And the Faye was yelling to the Blizzard, that is unfair.
You know why we picked Glady half the time?
You seemed quite pro mixed roster, right? Like you seemed to see some benefits of it.
Yeah.
Why were you not mixed this year then? Or last year?
Ooh. Okay.
It's a safe space. In season 5, I hated Gumba so much. I had never had anything except a nice interaction with him.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 9 of Uncoachable. We've been on a little bit of a winter break, but we're back and it's a new year. And with a new year comes change, reflection, New Year's resolution, reform. So we thought, what big issues could we tackle this year? Maybe we could talk about Chris's misogyny or Chris's horrific Twitter follows, but maybe that's more of a 2025 issue to tackle. So we will get to it, but maybe next year. We thought this year we should tackle the racist allegations, the racist undertones on the podcast, the overly critical nature we've had against Korean players. But luckily, there's a pretty tried and tested method of proving you're not racist. And that's by proving you have a friend from a demographic that you're being accused of being racist against. Which brings us to this week's guest, our Korean friend that will, for once and all, prevent us getting any more racist allegations. Welcome, NineK, to episode 9. And that's so just a small favor just to get all these racist allegations beat, but you're probably a pretty good person to talk about the other side of the coin here on terms of what it's like to work with Western players, because we've got a lot of Western defenders in the call. Mm-hmm. So what's your experience working with Western players and people from a different culture from yourself?
Okay. One thing I was thinking about this topic like a pretty long time, like an hour, and I've realized that I think Western player is very, very have a lot of one trick player. I mean, like a mindset wise, they really want to be like a one trick. I mean, if I'm good at this one, I can win whatever. It doesn't really thinking about the com wise. They're only thinking about their strong point. But they don't want to be showing against like their weakness point. They just want to be like showing up at their strong point. I think there's I think most of the coaches struggle, especially Korean coaches really struggle with that point. Yeah, I think that is one thing I really feel like.
Yeah, I felt like maybe I don't know if it's like Western mindset or like just in general life, but I think sometimes some people don't want to work on their weaknesses because there's like an additional layer of adversity, right? Like I think obviously I coached a Western team, and on that Western team there was quite a lot of one tricks or quote unquote one tricks, right? And we basically made 2 years of just playing everyone in their one trick, and we found a way to make it work. And I think that in general in life, people are really like when they get good at one thing, there's obviously way more dopamine associated with just playing that one hero, right? And I think that actually what will happen a lot is maybe one criticism that we can make of Western players that I've had with my time. I remember like this season when we were really shit at the start of the season, I was like roasting. I was using examples of Korean players. Oh, these guys are working so hard. Like the big example I always used was like Flora and Alpha Yi from Washington. I'm like, these guys are always duoing Sombra Tracer, like whatever they're doing, they're grinding. And I'm like, our players refuse to even duo with each other. They won't work on heroes they're not good at, blah, 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 blah. And I think that what it is probably at some level is for like, I don't know if it's just like lazy esports players or if it is like a Western thing. I feel like it's slightly more challenging, or they just don't want to do it in terms of you probably do want to like commit a few hours to fixing your problems. But actually, when I see my players playing ranked, half the time they're just on those heroes that they know that they're going to win with, you know? Like how many times have you tried to tell a player, I don't know if you've ever had this, Max, where it's like, oh, you really need to work on your Ana, for example. And they pick Ana in ranked. Yeah. And they lose like the first 2 fights. Fuck it, I'm going back. This wasn't a specific Landon call out, but maybe like that's the example it goes for. Fuck it, I'm going back. And I can't be played in this comp, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, there's like they get the mindset of, I want to improve. I really want to improve this. And then there's a certain level of adversity certain players reach. And then it's like, fuck it, I'm just going back to my comfort method. And maybe that's where Korean players have that like willingness to grind, where they'll just like sit for 12 hours in a row in the uncomfortable situation until it becomes like less uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I think really.
I know.
Yeah,
You, mate. You.
No, you go ahead.
Okay. I definitely think the Western players have like a lower threshold for this adversity, because I do think back, like to the Atlanta Rain days and stuff like that. And it was like, Pelican, he really wanted everyone to be able to like play a ball comp, like we needed a lot of moving parts to be able to play ball. And it's like Massa, you got to grind Brig. Gator, you've got to grind like Wrecking Ball, and it's just not fucking happening, dude. Gator's like, you know what? I hate playing Wrecking Ball so much. I'm just going to play Orange Heroes in ranked, and that'll do it. And he starts queuing Tracer. It's like, man, what are you talking about right now? What's going on? He's like, I don't want to play ball. I can't win on ball. And people delude themselves so hard too. Like if they suck at a hero, they start saying all this bullshit about how the hero is bad, how it's not possible to carry as hard on that hero, stuff like that. It's like no, you can't carry that hard on the hero because you're shit at it. But people really delude themselves super hard about the state of why they're not carrying in their ranked game, and then they just swap instantly or don't practice or whatever. Whereas
I feel like a Western player, it's like, I'm working on my Ana, and then you check their rank, and it's like, I play it 20% of the time, like I'm really like grinding it. Whereas I think probably the way that I bet like some Korean players do is they'll just make some unnamed Smurf, and they will just insta-lock a hero, and it will just never be swapped. And they won't do it on an account which like they can get recognized, and they won't join voice comms, but it'll just be like they'll throw your ranked games, they'll lose their mind, but actually what will happen is they will probably improve at that hero more than the guy that's willing to give it another 20% of his ranked play time.
Yeah. So I was thinking about the reason about the behind from this one, and I think it's like what is it, like a culture different or study way different? Because Korea culture is very like a strict into the what you study. Like they're not like give it diversity, and they need to like learn from by 1 to 10, like a very step by step. So they're easy to handle by stress, and they hate to be losing if I can't play that hero. They hate that shit. But I think Western players' mindset is different. Point is they hate to losing the same way, but why do I need to practice this one even though I'm not good at this one? And I only have a good amount level skill, and I feel like I can still win from this one, and they just don't want to do the other thing. And I kind of, because if I want to say the racist way, I need to be playing the Western player. But I think that is one of the reasons we use in the mixed team. And I try to be nice in this point, but probably I'm gonna say more like a dirty shit. But right now, I don't want to be sorry.
Yeah, we'll ease you into it. That's how we do it. We'll ease you in. You'll be racist by the end of the podcast. Don't worry. When I obviously spent the last month in China, and I lived with like my wife's Chinese family, and when I saw how my nephew's like school is, I was fucking shocked at like, okay, Chinese school is like
intense.
Okay, they start at 8 p.m. They finish at 5 p.m. Okay, so 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Okay, so that's already like 3 or 4 hours longer than I did. They don't get a break. They get lunch, and it's like 40 minutes, and that's it during the day. And the rest of it is. After that, this kid, he's doing 3 to 4 hours of homework when he gets home every single day. He's 9, by the way. And when he's not doing homework, he has to go to like an academy class because he's like really, really, really good at dancing. So that's what he does. And I'm like, and this is what everyone does. And then they're telling me like to get into it, like before it was like to get into a good university, you had to go to a good high school. So it was like, once you get to like 13, like you have to really start studying. I don't know if it's the same in Korea. But I imagine actually it's like relatively similar in terms of.
Yeah, it's similar.
Yeah. What they said in China now is actually these kids have to grind from like 7, because if you don't get into a good middle school, then you can't get into a good high school, which means you can't get into a good university. And like I've been like thinking a lot, because I'm like, this kid isn't unhappy, like he's really happy, like, and I'm like, fuck me, like you would have loved my childhood, he gets rationed internet time on the weekends where he can play some like PUBG Mobile, which is like the game in China. And when you let him have that phone, he's so unbelievably happy that you've never seen a kid that happy. That he plays on the and he's in the most uncomfortable position humanly possible, and because he's like so zoned in. I'm like, you would have loved me coming home at 3 p.m. after school and just like getting to play like Modern Warfare 2 for 6 hours and not doing my homework. You'd have loved English life. It would have been so good. But I kind of had this idea that like I think a lot of like Chinese, Korean, maybe like the successful Asian countries, their culture is a lot more about like success. Whereas I feel like in Western culture these days, like our priority is, oh, I just want you to be happy. You know, like I feel like we prioritize like happiness, like well-being in the moment, over maybe some Asian countries where it's like, no, we're prioritizing your well-being in 20 years when you're a doctor or you have like this. And I feel like that's maybe one thing Kasaurus, when he came on the podcast, NineK, he said that the reason Krusty and maybe you like Western rosters is if it's full Korean, it's too serious where if you don't win immediately, like everything collapses. If it's full Western, no one tries. There's like this balance that he felt that you could find where it's like, Korean players will push you to try, Western players will push you to have a little bit of fun, and you can kind of like meet somewhere in the middle where you're still working hard, but you're also not like, you're actually having like a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is like, Coach and Sam and Mikey was our team at the season 5, and they're really hate about we're too trying hard, and there's something thinking about we're cringe. I mean, one time Sam was a blame of the Kilo every length game. He counter Sam Echo. Like if the Sam going Echo, he going to like a Widowmaker or McCree, and when Sam going to Tracer, what he just swap it, and he every single time, and Sam was yelling to Kilo, "Why you fucking trying to counter me every single lane game?" But yeah, but that kind of vibe is like, I think culture different wise, that is one of the biggest reasons we do using the mixed team like a whole year. I mean, I have a 2-time experience about the full Korean and almost a full Westerner, but for Westerner team is like really hard to like just make them grind it. But if the Korean player trying hard, like 3-4 people trying hard, the Western people also try hard, and Western people try to get the good vibe and the funny vibe, and also Korean people just jump in because they're not easy to make a good vibe. They're like a really don't have a skill to making the like a funny vibe. I mean, you guys probably know that. You guys are easy to bully them. You guys are easy to bully the Korean, but you guys like hard to like they try to making that kind of vibe.
Yeah, I think when obviously we were together in Fusion in 2011, and obviously me and Astro had like a big visa problem, right?
Yeah.
And when we eventually arrived, one thing that I remember Rostam was saying to us is like, almost immediately the vibe was just like more fun and people were like enjoying it a little bit more just because like it affected being Ikkyo and a bunch of Koreans, and it felt like once like the funny white guys showed up, you know, and actually all of a sudden there was like a slightly like better vibe. And I think that in Fusion across the years I was there in the mixed teams, it was very much like a lot of times my responsibility to be like the Unta job, you know, like light in the don't worry much about the Overwatch. And I feel like actually one of the reasons I had pretty good relationships was my Korean was I was able to kind of like get that like more fun vibe to the point where Philly never felt too serious like in any of the seasons that we were there. But that's one thing that we've definitely heard on this podcast is like the full Korean teams can go quite serious, and whether or not it's optimal to be like fully serious, I guess it's a different question.
Well, it's free, isn't it? I'll go on 9K.
No. It's the same topic too. Going too much wrong for, so I don't mind.
No, I was going to say on the same topic. I was going to say because currently in Overwatch League titles, it's free in terms of free for a mixed roster, free for an all Korean roster as well. So 2 of those for Shock, 1 of those for Florida, the mixed one, and then London, Dallas, Shanghai. Discounting Molly's existence.
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like low key, maybe even high key. Florida's like mixed roster success is just like Kappa in terms of. Yeah, I mean, I do feel like it's barely a mixed roster in terms of obviously RuPaul is like an English speaker, but I don't think of RuPaul as like the fun Western culture guy, you know what I mean? Like RuPaul is just the guy that could play Bap and Ana in Overwatch 2. You know, like he was the guy that was 50k that could play Bap and Ana at the right time. But I'm not sure that he was like when we think about the other 2 wins, you know, for Shock, it's like I think all of the Westerners there, those like keystone players, they're a completely different level in terms of like their cultural addition to the team. Not trying to say that RuPaul is as interesting as a dishcloth or something, although he may very well be as interesting as a dishcloth. But just overall, I think that like the previous Shock rosters probably make a better case for like Western culture than Florida's 5-1 split.
Yeah, I also suspect Gumba wasn't like pushing, oh, let's have some Western fun, guys.
Gumba's like cracking the whip.
Western, don't take it too seriously type of guy. He might be
he's a Korean. He's
Korean.
What do you think? Yeah. I agree with Dylan for a lot of points. And I think I didn't like do 2 serious Korean team before, or I most of the time I do the mixed team, so I don't know what is like a too much Western team looks like, because Chris team looks like very happy and fun, and Galati looks like very fun and happy, right? So I am really not sure about what is it? Atlanta also very looks like fun when the baby was there. He messaged me a lot of time. They feel like fun, but they also, the other mind-wise, they want to get some more serious coaching style. Because Coach and Sam and told me a lot of time when they working at the Toronto, they still want to working after the stream, but sometimes the Western people doesn't want to do afterward. Like they feel like stream is already done the work. After like a watching review or other like extra stuff is like they feel like that is not the part of their job. They're too much thinking about the stream is only the job.
I don't know who's the most successful full Western team of all time. I don't know if it's us. Like, I don't know. Has any team?
Do you mean London?
Yeah.
Except London.
I mean, I what about like, you know, full Western? It's got to be London, right?
Yeah, well, I feel like almost every other full Western team is like Paris or Valiant, which just like basically like didn't win any games. Like Toronto were full Western for a time and they failed massively until they like imported Koreans. So I feel like we were the only team that ever. Is it true? I guess
maybe
Atlanta came
some
third.
Of the original Valiant.
Yeah, Atlanta
no, in the Valiant was they have a Korean tanker at the time. I think Atlanta season 2 is probably pretty strong, but they didn't get any like a high like a tier in that time, but they still beat the season 2 Shock. And
I think for us on London, I feel like we had like a gold culture where we didn't have like the Sams or the Kluges where people were saying like don't take it seriously. I feel like we had like Hadi and Landon as like these like leaders who would just. They had like the Korean work ethic in terms of their grind, and I feel like they were able to like push that through. I think what was good about us was it was like we were able to work. I really think on London we worked as hard as any team. Like I really think that we triple blocked as much as any team. I think we spent as much time like doing VODs and stuff as any team. I don't think we were outworked unless there was like these Korean teams which like you don't even know like that they put every hour in. I feel like all of the years on Fusion, I think we did more hours on London. But I feel like we were able to like try hard, but it never got toxic, you know, like even when we were losing, like I think maybe one thing that I don't know if it might even be like a difference between like Europeans and Americans, but I feel like we never really like went for conflict much. Like we never really had like incidents where if someone was like shit in the bed in scrims, we would never talk to them or like bring it up. It was just kind of like we were just like, oh, let's just try harder next time. Like always look like the positive way. Whereas
I think we got sad more than we got angry.
Right.
Like if things were going bad, we just like heads down, everyone a little bit, like just a bit quieter, a bit sadder, but it never got like too toxic between anyone.
Do you think that London like ever gave up?
I think there was a time last season when we were like still trying to do dive where I think I was pushing dive because I really thought it could work. Whereas I think what I'd missed was that the players had officially given up any hope that it could work, you know? I think that actually the shift to Reinhardt was the correct decision, but I should have made it like 2 or 3 weeks earlier. I was maybe naive in terms of I was really believing dives, like it's not that hard. I think we have the players, we can make it work. We just need to create a system. We need to do blah blah blah. But I think upon hindsight, there was a few players on that team that were like, I really like, I just can't. I'm too bad. Like we just can't win on this. I'm playing too badly. But I don't know. I feel like you obviously know the London guys pretty well. I feel like especially like that Haddy, like Landon core. I feel like they don't really ever give up. Like no matter what, they're gonna keep like grinding.
Yeah, no, they're superhumans.
Yeah, and I feel like that like Admiral Sparker group is kind of, they're like, if you're trying, I'll try type thing. Like they're never gonna push the team forward, but they're always gonna like try and keep up with everybody on the backside.
Yeah. I'd say that like I feel as if this culture is, it's typically like pretty infectious, like if you have a couple of grinders on your team, then they can kind of like soft pressure the other people into grinding more than they otherwise would, but then it's also like a game of dominoes, like with 23 gladiators, like they just straight up gave up, like I think after the Nixel reverse sweep or the Valiant reverse sweep, one of those two, like the will to live dropped so low that it was never coming back. Everyone was like, there's truly no fucking purpose. We can't win anything. Like we're just awful. And once one person gives up, everyone is going to give up very quickly, because if one guy isn't grinding anymore, then you can see that your chances are just going down and down and down. So it's really important that you keep that culture in check. Otherwise it all just falls to bits. I'm interested about Shock though, because they did like a million different fucking things this year with their roster, and it seemed like they gave up many times over. So I'd be really interested to hear NineK's perspective on this in the frame of Shock.
Okay, so one thing, I mean, a lot of experience-wise, my conclusion this year was, last year was, season 6 was, we are bad at some comp, and people still sometimes want to do something like that, but we don't have a prepared time to be like ready for like a head up. And after we losing the Atlanta with their Ana dive comp, and we just thinking to practice that comp, and we plan making the plan B for comp, and plan B comp was working very well. That comp was like a Kiriko, what is it? Kiriko with the Batis? Yeah, Kiriko Batis, right? They had like a weird comp. The way Mayhem like bring up that one, and we using that comp first time, and we dominate every single team. And Mayhem, we multiple times scrim with the Mayhem, and Mayhem bring up the same comp, and we going further like a very wrong way. We getting like a mirror situation and different comp situation, different way to play, right? And we just going like a very like a dangerous way, and we just still losing at the time, and we got like so. We need to break the mindset wise, because they're going to the wrong way. So if we keep doing this one, they're never going back. So we break one, and then we go to Lamatra, and Lamatra come very working well at the scrim. And like a few days after, we just struggle at some point. And that time we go into like every time we just like swap the comments. It's not player, it's not coach. It's more like I don't know why this happened. I mean, I personally have an opinion, but we going too much like this come wrong way. I mean, very earlier come starting good, but when you keep doing, it's something going like a little weird way, and like that's making our team like never coming back to winning. And I think I want to ask to Chris and Hunter. I mean, I think season starting or during the new comp, winning is more important than any other. Because if you win with the weird comp or whatever comp, when you start winning, the team synergy is way different than like So I think comp is not really matter. Just bring the winning as always.
Yeah, I think.
You got it.
Yeah, like I feel like with the comp stuff, like it's like there's this really horrible situations. Like you guys will both know, I'm 100%, where you have a game on Saturday and you just feel like, oh, I'm so fucking far behind, like where we need to be. Like I don't think we can mirror this team, but we haven't figured like an alternative. And it's like whatever you're doing, you're just in this like horrible state where it's like catch up. And it's like, oh, I've got to figure out a comp. Oh, I haven't even played this map yet. I have so much to do, and that all starts because your initial confidence on the meta comp gets broken at some point, right? Like if you are like the best team at the meta, you never worry about comps. You always just like, oh, let's just prep for this map. Like everything works. When we swapped to become a Reinhardt only team, we were never behind the meta because we always like we would just had to prep the maps. Like there was no element of like what are we going to play. It was just like how are we going to play it on like X, Y, and Z. And I feel like what when we were in our dive element, we obviously started the season by trying to do some like Winston Tracer Sombra. It didn't work. So we said, oh, let's maybe put like Sparker on Hitscan Tracer. It didn't work. Or let's try the Diva version. Didn't work. The Ram version didn't work. And we were just in this constant cycle of trying to find something which worked, but we could never actually put any time into anything. So whatever we did just didn't work. And by the time we eventually realized that we needed to play Winston Sombra Tracer, so it was like the best fit, we were like 5 weeks behind every team that had just been like sticking to it from the start. And once you get into that situation where you're like, your confidence is lost, and then you're just in this like constant cycle of like trying to figure out like, we're just like, it's like the house that we're living in is on fire, and we're just trying to put this, but this now is on fire, and then the fire keeps spreading, and eventually the house just burns down, you know. And whereas those guys that like live in the really nice houses, there's one small fire, they just fucking throw it out, and then they're chilling again. And I think that's what we struggled with in the first half, was there was a moment where you just realize you're just behind. Unless you flip and you pick a weird comp and it just works. Like for us, at least when we went Reinhardt comp, it wasn't like we had to learn the comp, right? Like we had like fucking like years of experience. So we swapped to it and then it worked. If you're in a situation like on Team UK, right? Like Team UK, we realized 4 days before our game against Finland, we're too far behind on the meta to win. We had to learn a new comp that we had no experience on. It just wasn't possible, you know, like it felt like it could work, but it wasn't. And you see it all the time in teams where the second they lose that confidence in the meta, they're just chasing shadows for like the next 4 weeks and then just inevitably losing until a patch reset happens or you kick off your team or something, you know?
It turns out kicking off your team doesn't always help. The results actually can get worse, would you believe?
Well, Shock had that in common with Gladiators and both making roster changes halfway through the season. Why did you choose to make the changes, and why we went back mix, bringing in Luke and Renko and Striker and Probe and everything? Why these players? Why did you get rid of Hisang and Vindame, and why these players to replace?
Vindame want to go like I think he have a kind of stronger time at the stay in the Western culture, no, not the Western culture, the Western NA. And the time he was trying hard, but he's like when he's mental already like kind of too much break at that moment. So we don't have a clearly way to be like using him. So we want to let him go. And the Hisang situation is kind of different, but Hisang is like a really good tracer and good Mei and like something like that. And Purple also wanna play tracer and kind of similar role. And like that situation is gonna be like making our situation very hard. And that is reason. And everyone kind of agree about this point. And we always like far behind from the like a winning streak and everything. And the time we want to making sometime changing the team vibe, and we just want to bring the like some of the Western player. And Lenko was like a smart guy, and we didn't know that before pickup. And his vibe is really fun. I mean, he's a funny guy, and we like them. And and we want to be their Ana break synergy is really high synergy, and Finn also get the like a mentally like a really struggle in the time. So we thinking about that there's a good way to making our team like get the new vibe and everyone happy about that. Yeah, very good guys. I mean, also Gladi changed during the season, right?
I think so. Yeah. Did they
it's my belief and understanding that Gladiators changed their roster at some point in the season. Yes.
Have we mentioned it on this podcast before?
I think we might have covered this briefly at some point. Yeah. You know, well, I can't remember the names of the fallen soldiers.
And you got in a.
Oh yeah, that's it.
I mean, Marvel was a happy guy, dude. He had a roaring laugh, a goofy smile. He just wasn't all that, you know. Yeah, he just wasn't all that. He'll never be Dante. But yeah, I mean, with Shock, do you think that you guys lost like predominantly because of mental issues? Because it really did feel like on paper that roster was totally fine from a talent perspective. Except for maybe Indy. That guy's a
I think it's not the player issue. It's not like kind of coach issue, but I think coach issue is because we already fought. You guys understand this point, meaning when we only fought, coach need to be more hard time get the little hard time. If your team's winning streak, oh, easy. You can just like asking them to like just, oh, can you do something more? And they're yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, I'm down. And when you're at the hard time, you're like hard. But I think the biggest problem was, I mean, Chris was not at the 2021 very earlier time, but when we need to play hyping, and that hyping with the like 2 months almost, and your Scream Lizard is never can win if you're hyping. But we still like play that and when the meta was fine until Sombra came up. But when Sombra came up with the hyping, impossible Scream. And we still do it almost 2 weeks, and everyone just like grind with the Sombra com, and Bindime never can play the break because of the ping, because even if he showed up, he's still hacking and he die every single time. Our Scream is never gonna working, but like and everyone get the stress by that. And when we came to the NA, we almost came to the like just week before the match, and me and Kirsty came like 2 days before the match, and that snowball is going to the whole time snowball for the year. So that season we didn't want to be Sombracom, and like and even Sombracom with Lamatra Sombracom was working very well at the Scream. But yeah, you guys know Scream is not really matter.
We interrupt this podcast to bring you an important message about a cause pretty close to all of our hearts, and that's ourselves. We need support financially to obviously keep this going. So we've started a Patreon, and we'd be very grateful to anyone who enjoys the podcast, like the podcast, supports us as much as they can. You can start supporting us for as little as $1 a month. And then there's various tiers above that. And there's some pretty nice perks in there. You can join our exclusive Discord server. We're going to start doing a monthly Q&A with questions from people who are members. And that video will be released exclusively on our Patreon as well. So you have to subscribe to get access to that. And we'll start doing some more previews of episodes with maybe some more explicit or juicy clips. Again, exclusive for our Patreon members. And we'll keep adding stuff to this and expanding. But if you do have any spare money or disposable income, please feel free to send it our way. And we'll hopefully do something useful with it and they can enjoy. Thank you very much.
So do you think it's fair to say that Andy Miller completely fucked the San Francisco Shock season from the start, and it's all his fault?
Fuck you, Andy.
Fuck you, Andy. Quote NineK, by the way.
No, I want to say fuck you, Blizzard.
Okay.
Let me tell you something.
That all your tournament is never need to be
The Pro-Am?
Like Pro-Am was the worst content.
I'm curious because you're saying, hyping scrims that had like a negative effect on you guys mentally. Yeah. But before the hyping scrims, weren't you scrimming in Korea? Like low ping? Because I mean, were you winning back then?
Yeah. We scrim at the Houston and every team, and we have the really good Blizzard. And everyone like
so it really is all Andy Miller's fault. Okay.
No, it's Blizzard because Shock really don't want to go to the Pro-Am because they hate to do Pro-Am, and Blizzard forced us, and that arguing like taking the more like 2 months, and we almost like really have a good chance to be not attend to them. So it's after that Pro-Am done, and we know we're gonna be immediately going to the NA, and that time also like a Bija have an issue, like my Bija first Bija rejected first time, and not rejected, like a different issue, but yeah. So it's kind of like maybe some point about the Shock issue, but I think most of the time it's Blizzard issue.
Yeah, I feel like this season too. It's like, I guess the only other season was the GOAT season, but actually, if you start behind in this meta, there was no patch to save you, like, right? Like, yeah, it was like you were, it's like you said, if you fell behind or couldn't play the Sombra, you were just stuck onto it for like 75% of the season until like all the changes happened. So yeah.
I think season 1 was fine. Sorry.
I was gonna say, season 1 was. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I want to say this one because I think season 1 was fine because Hunter and me and like Chris have experienced this season because Soldier was strong at the very earlier meta, and that is the reason like every team using like the Soldier meta. After that, like Anajan was strong and Joker King. Every month have a different meta, right? Yeah. That is like a very fun year because everyone trying different thing like every season, every time. So it was not really matter, but Sombra meta was like a stock and never be changed. Every team have like a hard time because the line com is never working because of Sombra. Some com never working because of Sombra, and we just like have a hard time. We exist team just dominate every single team.
Yeah, I feel like I often find myself as like a Blizzard apologist in some ways because I feel like everyone I know which is like, oh yeah, it's like fuck you Blizzard, you guys are like so dumb. Like, oh why did you accept the YouTube money deal? It's so obvious that like turning down your main income stream and streaming on Twitch is just obviously like the best decision. Like from Hawk who types it in the Discord every 5 seconds. Like, we'll just stream on Twitch, guys. As if like one of the Blizzard execs like, oh fuck, if Hawk thinks I should tear this YouTube deal, I should do it. But one thing that I never understood about Blizzard was that what you said, that like season 5, the format was actually the best it could have been, right? 4 tournaments, all on different patch cycles, different LANs. Every single after a quarter of a season, you have something to play for. Like even when Vancouver were like 0-12, they still could play to qualify for the next tournament and go to the LAN, right? We had 5 metas across a single season, 4 tournaments. I don't understand for one fucking second why they changed the format this season. Like I know some of it was to accommodate the World Cup, which is like, okay, I guess whatever. And then I don't know if it was Sean Miller or someone said it in the Discord, and they said that like we felt like there was like viewer fatigue from like all of the games, and we felt like if we just remove tournaments and just like put less regular season games, like people are going to watch more. But I was thinking like from a competitive point of view, it took them 5 years and they nailed it. That format actually doesn't need changing. Like there was one problem with the point system, like how it translated to go into the mid-season. But apart from that, the season was actually competitively fair. Everyone played each other twice. Everyone had multiple opportunities to go. The fact that they just fucking threw that up and just changed to last season, like that's one of the dumbest decisions, like for sure. I know obviously Andy Miller's fucked up, but Sean Miller too, presumably. Like it must be something.
It's just Miller's, man.
The Miller family is like, really like a disaster, really.
You never can say to Andy Miller. Andy Miller supporting us like a real hard time. He only do the 1 year something wrong.
Andy's the good brother. Sean's the rubbish brother.
Yeah, 90% good, 1 time bad. It's not meaning he's bad.
True.
Yeah, I think your take there, Chris. I mean, like for sure, the season format was better in season 5, but I think like everything you heard about viewer fatigue and this and that and the other, it's just like it's just them trying to give you the best corporate speak possible to say our budget has been slashed and we have less money to run the tournament. You know, like those tournaments were good, but everything costs money, dude.
Yeah, but even they don't do LANs. If they make all of it online, the format itself is still fucking fine, right? Like you only do a LAN for mid-season and playoffs, and you still do the tournaments online. It's still way better. Like
they're trying to hide the fact that they don't have LANs, if you know what I mean. Like they're trying to like change the format. So if you just have online tournaments, it looks worse because all your LANs last year are now online. If you just have less tournaments but you still have LANs, you kind of like go around it.
Blame the viewers for being sleepy. Like I don't know, it's unbelievable.
Fatigue.
No, blame YouTube.
Hawk was right. Fuck.
I'm so fatigued. I just wish
Twitch
didn't matter.
Twitch cut the what is it? Like their working crew like a 35%, right?
Yeah.
So YouTube is right.
YouTube is A better platform, and B, I'm fairly sure it was the only money the league was making was this like $2 million or whatever it was exclusivity deal. Like this idea that if we just rip it up and then like Overwatch would just be profitable because like all the sponsors would jump in on Twitch. Like I don't know, like I think it's really, really hard. Like that decision, especially, and the people in the Overwatch League Discords, the Hawks of this world, they didn't consider any of this shit, you know? Like they didn't consider for 1 second that this is actually a business decision Blizzard has to make based on multiple factors. And it's like, well, the number on Twitch is higher, guys. Come on. Like, I don't know. That was like the most, like all like the Overwatch League Discord is full of so many fucking clients with people without brains who get like, just are so like, oh, I've come up with this idea, I'm just going to fucking post it. Like, whenever I would give feedback, I would like think about it for an hour, and I was so nervous to type it in case I was being a fucking client. Some of these fucking, always American kids, by the way.
It's like, always Americans. Genuinely always Americans.
It's not Koreans, it's not Europeans, it's always the fucking Americans. They just, fuck it, just go Twitch, guys, and just fucking type it and send it, and all of a sudden Blizzard don't listen to our feedback anymore because these guys just fucking mute the Discord because it's full of fucking clients telling them like, yeah, just fucking nerf this hero. It's so obvious. Nerf the hero, which I can't play, by the way. No team ever wanted to nerf a hero which they were good at. It was only, oh, this matter isn't good for us. Nerf it. It's unbalanced. So
Now, like, I think American Tornado single-handedly killed Overwatch League's ability to get feedback into the devs. Because when Overwatch 2 came out, we had like a direct line to the developers that they were actually reading. And I swear every single post from an AT player, all the guys on Shock, Reiner, even I'm pretty sure Marjed, when he could fucking put a couple of words together to form a sentence, was saying something stupid too. Like, it was just everyone was writing the dumbest shit. They would play the game for 13 seconds, die to a cooldown, and then complain about the cooldown in a schizo rant in the chat.
Okay.
It would happen when a patch came out as well. Like, the patch would come out, no one's played it yet. There's a load of feedback in the chat.
This is clearly fucking busted. What the fuck are you guys talking like? Fucking play it for a week and then give feedback. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Okay, I have a lot of things to say about this point. Because Pose and Sam was our team in the mic also, so I know the American Tornado, what they say about their Discord or whatever thing. But one thing I one time say to them, you guys killed Overwatch League at the season 6 because you guys hate to play against like a one-shot hero, like a Hanjo, Sojourn, Kiriko kind of, and Junkrat. They hate to be play against someone can be play like a Creed. They hate to play against like a one-shot hero. I think that is making the game more boring for me. I mean, but I'm not sure is their opinion is the effect to the actually Blizzard. But one thing I really feel like one-shot hero has to be exist in the game.
I felt like there's this isn't just Overwatch, this is the Overwatch community in general. The Overwatch community, always just shits on patch notes because they think they know better. But I feel like we've taken 75% of the heroes in Overwatch and we've deemed them not fun to the point where if any of these heroes are meta, the game is not fun. To the point where it's if you're not playing Winston, Tracer, Ana, the game is just not fun. Oh, Rissa, that's a fucking boring hero. Malga, boring hero. Sigma, boring hero. Ram, any tank that isn't flying around with bubbles is a fucking boring hero. When Demo's too strong, boring hero. It's I think if 80% of the heroes you consider them fucking boring, then there's no way to patch this game in a way. They made Winston Tracer and a meta for ages, and people complained that was boring too. So I feel like what's happened is Overwatch League feedback, but then just community feedback in general. Blizzard has to pretend to give a shit. If I worked for Blizzard, I would throw it all out because I actually think all of these people are just so fucking dumb. They don't consider any of the bigger picture except, oh, this is boring. I hate getting one shot. I hate getting CC'd. I mean, yeah, okay, CC wasn't designed to be fun to be fucking CC'd or whatever. But it's a valuable thing that allows when you create a hero, you give them CC abilities, especially if you make them skill dependent. Then it's like the old McCree with the flashbang. They gave counterplay to it that made it actually interesting, you know. And I feel we just kind of got into this thing where it's oh, too much healing is boring, too much CC is boring, getting one shot is boring. Well, what the fuck do you want us to do? How do I make this game not boring to you people? You know?
Yeah. I mean, only thing is this isn't a long time ago. I say a very stupid way, but I think every hero have a high mobility is making the game more fun. Doesn't matter your damage, doesn't matter your CC. If you have a high mobility, you still can do a lot of things. Thinking about only the monkey com is using almost every single year is because Bubble, yeah, but the one thing is he has a highest mobility every single time with the damage. I think Lionheart, season 5, season 6, why it's working is he canceled the charge. Yeah, pin. yeah, pin is the right word for us. But yeah, that is making the Lionheart much more smoothly can using every single map, right?
Yeah, that was the biggest change for sure. Yeah.
Just mobility is making the game more fun. Mauga, Junkerkin, thinking about the Junkerkin can jumping like a what's Barbarian, like a Diablo. Definitely Junkerkin is gonna be fucking fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess not to turn this podcast into plat chat. But I feel when it comes to discussing the balance and stuff, I feel Blizzard has a really big problem with designing tanks that don't have a shield or mobility. I feel these tanks Mauga is so hard to balance. It's either going to be broken or it's going to be dog shit. The same with Orisa. All they can fiddle with is numbers, and it's I think another thing when Blizzard decided that we just need to remove all shields from the game along with all CC, you actually cut your ability to make a tank so fucking much, right?
Yeah.
He was either a ground tank that could CC or a shield tank. And obviously I understand that playing into 70 shields is boring, but I think we've made so many balance changes, which actually just like I don't know how the fuck they do it. They just make every hero Soldier 76 who can run around and shoot non-one-shot bullets or CC anyone, you know?
Well, the reducing the player from 6 to 5 really helped with the shield problem anyway, because automatically there's just 50% less shields in the game or potential for it anyway.
Yeah, look at the grand final. Lionheart, Monkey, and Sigma. What they have? They have a shield.
Yeah.
I mean, even World Cup. I mean, I think if they say they hate to making the shield tanker, they need to remove every single tanker shield. Then it makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like tank is so hard if you don't allow them to have shields or CC to the point where I don't know what the fuck they do.
Yeah, I mean, I think like they kind of got rid of the shield problem by getting rid of one of the tanks. To be honest, you know, like who cares about if one tank has a shield, who fucking cares, dude? Like they had double shield before. That was
a shield.
Right? Yeah, it's actually totally reasonable.
Guy on the team.
Yeah. But instead, they just wind up in this like super problematic design of these. Like, hey, you were talking shit about Hawk, but he has pretty decent takes about the ground tanks. Where they all just kind of wind up being consistent in their design. You get like a little bit of ground mobility, but all you can really do is just shoot the front over and over and over again. Like Malga, Junker Queen, Orisa, they all have this kind of similar design where you're just standing in the middle doing fucking nothing, like Ramatra too. So like they definitely need to give people either like give the tanks either like cancer mobility or some shields so that they can do something different.
Yeah.
But I feel like they just lock all of the new tank heroes into the exact same style because they're scared to add CC and they're scared to add shields because people sucked about it before. But
I fully agree.
I think people so much crying about the win Junpis was. I mean, I was still feel fine. I mean, still Junpis win rate is like a pretty 40%, 50%. It's not that much high, but at the solo rank is so much like a nightmare for them. But I think as a team game, it was not really matter. I think it's like a 50-50. Dante and Hawk was crying all the time after.
Well, that's what you defend Hawk. Because I think the guy is actually smart, but he's a fucking idiot too, like the boy who cried wolf. The moral I take.
People need to stop being self-serving with the feedback.
That's it, exactly. It's like if 50% of your feedback is genuinely good, but then 50% of your feedback is either just go on Twitch or buff my heroes, then I no longer respect your opinion. Like what you need to do is like only do the fucking smart stuff that you thought about. So like, I mean, it's better than some of the AT guys who did 100% of just like brain dead opinions on Overwatch. But
Andy Miller just heard what he said about him actually.
Andy Miller's up the door.
This apartment that I'm paying for looks nice, doesn't it? It's a shame if it was to go away.
While NineK's out, I'll just finish the Hawk meat writing segment from me, where it's like, I will say that even though his feedback was often like incredibly self-serving, like he'd always talk about the heroes that he was good at, or heroes that he was good at that had been nerfed. I think that like the suggestions he wound up giving were actually very good, like consistently. Even if it was self-serving, it felt like he actually had a pretty good idea of how to make a hero that was fun and felt good in the space of the game, rather than just saying my hero is weak, give it more damage. Like the amount of times that I saw tornado-esque comments, which were basically like, oh, Genji is shit now because you took 1 damage away from his shuriken, so buff Genji again, stuff like that. That's just garbage feedback. It's nothing.
I feel like the big problem, and I think actually the league was like so dumb with certain things because it was like they would ask for feedback from like players and teams, and every team would just vote in their interests. Like no team was like voting independently. Like when they were talking, I remember when we did like the points thing at the end of like season 5, because London got fucked because we didn't get a point because we didn't qualify for the LAN, which meant it was harder for us to qualify for Hawaii, even though we had the same wins as the teams above us. We just like lost a map differential. And they like, oh, we're going to do a vote if we should change this. And you know what happened? The teams that had points voted to keep it, and the teams that didn't have votes voted against it. And it's like, why the fuck are you asking for feedback? Like if it's like so obvious like this. I remember when Alari came out, every team was complaining Alari is OP, except Toronto, who were like, not like, and then when Alari got nerfed, Toronto was like, all of that team, like Kaluj, Majed, what? You've just killed this hero. It's so fucking dead now, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, you could have a point, but if you only ever give feedback when it negatively affects your team, then if you are even remotely competent at Blizzard, you have just muted that account and there's no point listening to it, right? Like the only way you can get feedback is if you are willing to say, listen, I'm a Reinhardt team, but Reinhardt actually does need a nerf right now. I feel like it's too strong. But no one in the league would ever go against their own interest, which I guess makes sense, which in my opinion made the feedback channel of the Overwatch League Discord purely to appease the teams that they're being listened to,
I think Blizzard need to make in the Discord, only very few people like can spoke it there. I mean, every single person speaking, I think it felt like useless. I mean, sometimes feel like feedback is make a sense for the team, but I think a lot of time is not making sense.
That's why democracy
Really?
doesn't work, because you shouldn't
Well,
listen to everyone, you know?
It's always compromised mid-season. Like if you ask teams between seasons, you can probably get pretty reasonable and fair feedback. But when you ask teams when there's like wins on the line or qualification on the line, it's impossible not to vote in your interest or give feedback based on your interest, really.
Yeah. I mean, what Hunter, I want to ask something. I mean, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but like the season 3, after season 4, we don't have anymore can choose an opponent if you have a high quality seed. I heard that this come from DPay was say to the Blizzard.
I was on Atlanta Rain, mate.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah,
But
so
you still
I
can
don't
know,
know
have a good chance to know because you know a lot of things.
Finish the question. But...
Okay. So I heard it. That time Philadelphia choose every single time Glady at the season 3. And the Faye was yelling to the Blizzard, that is unfair.
You know why we picked Glady half the time? It was a fellow podcast in Overwatch is Tactical Crouch, and they had who was that other assistant coach? It was like, is it like Curry Shot was his name? It was
Curry Shot and Forceless, but it was Curry Shot that fucked it up because I've heard this story 100 times from.
Yeah, so Curry Shot and DP went on this podcast, and this guy was such an arrogant cunt. It blew my fucking mind. I watched that podcast. I actually fucking hate this person. Like the way these guys talked about how fucking good they were and how amazing their team was and everything, it actually pissed me off. So I just made sure DP became my like arch enemy, or just like gladiators in general that season. To the point where every time we could pick them because we were good, I was like, yeah, let's fucking pick these guys. Because actually, if Curry Shot had never done that podcast, I'm 100% sure at least one of those times we wouldn't have picked gladiators, and then maybe we would have like qualified for a tournament, or not got immediately knocked out. But when those guys went on that podcast and they were so fucking arrogant, like I was listening to the things this guy was saying, and I was like, I actually fucking hate you. I've never spoke to you, but I fucking hate you. So I made it like really, really apparent that no matter what we did, we had to beat glads, you know. So there's a funny story for you all there.
I mean, I think that is one thing making the Overwatch boring a lot of point, because you choose an opponent is every time have a lot of advantage with the high seed. But high seed does not have a meaning after that.
Yeah, how did they do it after? It was just like, because the problem with like default seeding is that like actually, if you're first seed, but the 8th team has just actually hit a really good meta, it can be a really shit draw for you, you know. Whereas I think that generally speaking, the best way to do it is allow teams to pick based on what's good for them, right? Like,
they did the opposite, right, this season, where you pick the team you send to the other group in playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you would every
season they change it, so it's weird. I mean, but one thing was like in 2021, we was top seed before all, and we are against with the Shanghai Dragon. I was like, what the heck is going on? And every year, like a top seed team, I don't know why, but they're against like a pretty strong team with a low bottom team. So it's making the game more hard because Team 3 and Team 4 is making a lot of times like a good team also. So I think that tournament system is making a lot of point of the game weird.
Yeah, I agree.
Should we talk a little bit about how, you know, you seemed quite pro mixed roster, right? Like you seem to see some benefits of it.
Yeah.
Why were you not mixed this year then? Or last year?
Okay.
It's a safe space. Nothing bad's ever happened from revealing stuff.
Okay, I gotta believe this one is not gonna be translate or whatever.
It won't. No
Korea.
way.
So I gotta say about explain the reason is one thing during the season 5, and Korea player and Western player, in the end they became like a really good friend, but they kind of struggle a lot of point. And that time, like a proper and Finn and Kilo have a lot of stress at the time, and they kind of want to go to the Korean like way to working style, and a lot of stress and we like that this snowball was came, and also other side snowball is if we win one thing or if we making the like a good blizzard, we want to go to like a still the mixed team, and that kind of snowball going the whole the year the point. And after we get the second place, I think we still like a lot of time we love the lizard and love the team, but also in other hand like they're thinking what way is if we was full Korean team we might be won the year. They're like their mindset like every single person, and I think that this also happened to Polish and probably Sam. If it was AT, they might be get the lizard like something like that, because their people is very delusion when they losing at the very end of the part like a final when they're losing. Some team easy to go to delusion to be like maybe other choice was better.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So they're just kind of making the team like going forward that way, and we also hard to against it because we at the match time we have also struggled with the language barrier, and if a lot of time with we losing like a street final in that year. Yeah, I think street final, and that is all time their full Korean team, and like a Bloody was not full Korean team, but we fucked up ourselves a lot of point, and that is making the snowball way. So it's not someone making decision is let's go Korean team. It's more like a snowball for the season 5 since it came to season 6.
Yeah, I felt the decision in the preseason, I thought Shock were going to win the league 100% this year.
Yeah, same.
I was like, yeah, this team, the way I looked at it was, I think Proper, it carried you guys to second place. You then replace all of the players with his friends who also were seen by everyone as super talented players, and you remove the language barrier. I looked at this Shock and I thought Atlanta, Houston, Florida were my big four, but I felt Shock were another tier above them. I felt like it was almost inevitable that Shock would win the league this year. Obviously, I don't think you guys did, but I felt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Astute observation.
Yeah, but I looked at it and I thought this makes perfect sense. If Proper can almost single-handedly take his team to second place, because especially in certain metas, I felt like you guys that season 5 roster, there was problems with it. On paper, your roster was good in double flex support meta because Finn was really strong and Violet was really good. But it felt a lot of the time was if Proper doesn't just one playoffs, I felt fucking hell, Proper is actually just doing everything here. And it felt if you just upgrade the pieces around him, then presumably you just automatically win.
I kind of agree and kind of not agree, because I really worry about the VBK with the Korean team, because I have a very bad experience with the just
Koreans.
one Koreans. I mean,
Me too.
Yeah, I mean it's not something they're doing wrong, and also a lot of time talk to my ex-coach and whatever who I worked with before, but I hate to change the player after the season, especially Tanker. Because Tanker is kind of like a League of Legends jungler, right? They need to know a lot of things, understanding of what the coach want to be played, the way of the game style. If coach dives is aggressive, then Tanker can be aggressive. If the coach want to be this meta passive, Tanker just easy to change the passive, right? But when the new Tanker came, that is one of the hardest part. That is the reason I choose a season 5 to shop. I agree to join the shop because I want to working again one more time with the shipper. And he fucking left.
That fucking dog.
I still a good friend with him, and he deleted my Discord friend. But
wow, what a
no.
That's
He didn't.
so fake.
Ego
No. I'm joking.
It's the title now. There's nothing you can do.
You can't stop.
Oh, shit. Yeah. In the title, super deleted NineK Discord.
From the horse's mouth.
So
The only way you can change it is you have to say something super fucking racist, and then we'll put that as the title.
Then you go to making the season part 1, part 2.
It's a good idea.
So my point to try to say is, mean, every year I change the team, and every year I have a different tanker, and I was stressed out at that point because I have a literally want to be my tanker is who I working before, and season 6 was the when Max and Junbin came. They're good at they have a ego wise. They have what is it? Strong player. I mean, one thing. This has happened to the Fusion also, but I feel like when you join the team, the team was have a really high lizard. It's hard to be changed their mindset. Yeah, because I think season 1, season 2 shock, and season 3 Paris. Why we easy to making the team, and season 5 is because their last year was nightmare.
Yeah, it was the same for me on London, right? Like I joined when they had their worst season ever, so it was very easy to get buy-in. Like I think when you joined us in season 4, I felt bad for you because I don't know if it was the correct decision to get rid of KDG in the end, because I think a lot of times people would say to you, "Oh, when we had KDG, we would do it like this," and I'm like, "Oh, and it would work. We really liked it when KDG did this," but it was like that's really tough, right? Because it's like, well, I want to do it my way. Like I've had success my way, but it seems like you guys have like fired KDG, but a lot of the players just wanted to do it like KDG's way. So you were then in a situation where you're like, do I do KDG style or do I just say fuck them and do like NineK style? And I feel like it was for you to improve on the season we had before. You had to win the league, right? Because we were really good this season before, and I think that was really really difficult. The same way like in football, when Sir Alex Ferguson left Man United, no one could replace him because it was like, oh, we want to do things that way. I imagine if I'd left London this season, whoever could have came in, it would have actually been quite difficult to not like. You would have almost had to have like promote like X to head coach and then try to keep the same system. Or I imagine it would have been a situation where there would have been a lot of like infighting between the players and the new coach in terms of do we keep things the old way or do we do it the new way?
Yeah, I think only way older year was why working is because stage 1 was like except Alam and Carpet, everyone is just new player. 4 player was new from the KDG. They're not like working with the KDG before.
Well,
technically Toby was working at the Seoul, but like they not stay at the last year at the same team with the Philadelphia. So there was fresh new player. So they're just like easy to working with at the time, and getting it's like a mixed culture game, and during the season they language changed like 3 times, 4 times, like a lot of time, and making like a lot of issue. But what was the topic, by the way? Why we came to here?
I don't know. It started with Super deleting you on Discord, and then
so the point was like when. No, why did I bring up that?
I think it was like that.
So season 6, the hard time is because Max and Junbin came from the strong team, and and also player was also. I think I heard like the same story with the Atlanta, and I think that is like a lot of team have an issue when you get the very high leader. I think Glady definitely have an issue this year. I mean, probably I'm not sure that you guys realize about this point or not, but I think if you're success last year and your key player changing, make you game more harder.
Yeah,
especially tanker.
Well, it's maybe like you said, an issue Gator came into in terms of he takes over like Chio and Fielder, and they've just come off winning the league with like a very with Rush as head coach and what looks like quite a strong system team. I feel like it's actually also just really hard then for Gator to not just be, well, this is what we used to do on Dallas, this is what we used to do with Rush, and he's just stuck then sort of having to follow that. And obviously a lot of it's probably good ideas as well, so you kind of just have to agree, and then it maybe undermines the coach's authority a bit, or like Gator's chance to put identity on his identity on that team.
Yeah, I think this.
Oh, sorry. No, I want your thoughts. Okay. I guess.
So I think the problem is player is bring up to coach, or sometimes coach bring up hard to against it because you doesn't know the background story. You doesn't know the whole time that they only have a lizard. We win. We have a good lizard. And how can you say about that point? I mean, the push or player, not even meaning that is against you or force you, but they still want to bring up. Yeah, I'm right and you're wrong. They sometimes bring it up that way, so it's hard to making the comparison. It's not debate. It's more like a don't speak to me.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, I'm kind of interested
Hmm?
because I guess like the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Like Dallas champions on Atlanta. As soon as Atlanta starts losing, they kind of fall to bits. They hate each other. They're really toxic even when they're winning. Stuff like that. How did you avoid that on Shock? Because again, like you're the coach from the only team that went back to back.
Right.
You're the only guy to have done it 2 years in a row and to have gone with roster changes.
Why a lot of people confusing about I was not season 3 at the Shock.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh yeah, you went to Paris,
All right.
right? So you haven't got a fucking clue.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, all right.
All right.
I think like a multiple reason is behind it. What do I thinking about that? Because they're losing to us at the Paris, and that is the burning to them to get the more synergy to go to the far because they hate to be like losing to me, and that is one time they're going hard. And second reason is KDG make them the burning.
Oh,
Do you remember last when Philadelphia win the Shock? They posting about the very toxic way to about the Shock, right?
Yeah, it was like was it Rascal or someone? Someone made a comment about us, and then we beat them. So we tweeted like it was Carpe. It was fucking Carpe, right? I remember Carpe. Bastard.
Yeah,
and I think that woke everyone up.
So this is the way about the making the team is if you have a typically or obvious enemy, it's making team more easy to bonding together to making the team strong. Yeah.
It's such good motivation. In my coaching career, I always pick a coach, and I just irrationally fucking hate that person for no reason. In season 5, I hated Gumba so much. I had never had anything except a nice interaction with him. I'd only had good. But if you X knows this, I fucking hated Gumba so much. And then obviously when the bastard kept reverse sweeping me, I really fucking hated him. Actually, I had no reason to hate him. Like I only had positive interactions, but I just did it. And then when Gumba got really upgraded his team, I just liked him because I no longer saw him as my competition. I don't know who I hated this season. Who?
It was Face.
Oh, it was my Face. I hated Face, and I would just every time he do, I would just bring up. I fucking hate this guy, but I always just invented an enemy in my head. I like Face. I've been out to dinner with him. I've gone for runs with him. Every interaction with Face is super positive. He's a really nice guy. I fucking hate him though for no logical reason. But actually, I find that for that motivation, hate is way stronger than anything else. So I 100%, you need rival reason and fucking hatred.
You're not beating the racist allegations in a million years, dude. Hate is stronger than anything else. It's so fucking over.
It's true, though. Unfortunately, facts don't care about.
At the sports-wise, true. Yeah. Enemy is strong enemy. So I think that making what do I heard it with the Shock is before they losing to us, they was not do the a team practice at the a coaching. What is it? A practice room. Everyone just sitting in their room. They're almost a chilling. That's a stage. And after they losing to us, there was a really a trying hard at the year. And after that, when they losing to Philadelphia, that a hosting is making them to the trying hard more. And they never want to losing to a Philadelphia again and Paris. I think the two making them that year hard to do that.
Yeah.
And season 3, there was we also having we don't want to lose in Philadelphia because Poco was there and everyone have a fun year with them, and we also doesn't want to lose in Shock. And you guys know if you have a good scream team, they're trying hard, and they've been making the team scream quality way higher than any other team.
Yeah, 100%. I think that it happens all the time in sports too. You see teams that like everyone always Messi and Ronaldo maybe wouldn't go as far if they didn't have each other to
I agree.
And I feel it's super common where unfortunately, as much as it is not good to say, hate is a very powerful emotion,
So I'm not sure you guys know this one. When the Haksa retired, he posting about something is he was kind of really losing a lot of motivation when the Shatra moving the other game. Because he wasn't thinking he was
because he wanted to
competition.
Yeah. Well, I was really a lot of time I was kind of about that, but I think Ans was really have a lot of competition with the Axie. I mean, I'm not. People maybe not agree with this one, but they're a good friend and they don't want to losing video duel a lot of time. So that kind of year is making it like a boosted. So technically season 3, if it was not have a COVID, I think that year was the funniest year. Because
it was a
it was a good year. Philadelphia strong, Bus strong, Shock strong. I think Glady was pretty strong, and that time Valiant also was strong, right? I mean, a lot of team was pretty strong.
Valiant was strong,
Shanghai,
but we were like
Shanghai
a definite
really
tier below.
too.
Yeah, Shanghai was really good, and I think that year if it was not COVID, I think the quality wise of the matches probably the highest.
Yeah.
I mean, wasn't Shanghai like borderline robbed of a championship that year? Like they could have really taken it the distance, and then it just became a hog meta with Fearless or something.
Well, obviously I felt on Fusion we felt the same, that actually if it was any meta except hog meta, we really feel like we could have won it. Like we were super competitive the whole way. I feel like in terms of every single season 3 was the one where that like playoff patch just like fucked everything, you know, like Paris got fucked so hard by playoffs, right?
To Washington, yeah.
Like you guys just like lost both games, even though you were like consistently like a really strong team. Like Washington went from 13th to 3rd best team. Like they were really close to going to playoffs.
No, I still thinking one thing I really fucking upset about the season 3 is I still not agree with it's not Sean Miller. Who was it?
Who you're talking about? Washington being in playoffs, right?
Yeah,
it's so fucking stupid. I was in the Discord and I was like, how the fuck can this team finish bottom of the league and make?
No, they're way below. They're 19 something.
Yeah, emergency roster substitutions and come into playoffs. I'm like, what the fuck was the point in this regular season if we just let everybody else in? You know, like I feel like if you said to Washington you can't be in playoffs, how the fuck can they argue and say? We finished 19th out of 20, right? Like, come on, we should get in there. Like, that was if Washington had got if KDG hadn't cracked down Washington and beat them, if they'd got to playoffs, it would actually have been the fucking like most aggravating thing in my life in terms of we went like 25-3 and they went like fucking 1-9 million and they like beat us in playoffs. That would have been
who was a player? Who was a player at the moving to the Dallas to the Washington? I can't remember his name. DK.
Yeah.
That is the one thing I really can't believe that this happened.
Yeah,
I mean that guy was just unbelievable.
I don't know. It was just the whole thing was like so dumb. Like did they made up an excuse or like they said that one of our players can't travel so he can, and it was just like. It was like a full-on like Albert move, you know, like it was technically legal, but it was like a little bit fucking shady. And then
an Albert move.
I mean, that's like what he's known for, you know. Like technically it's legal, but it probably goes against the spirit of what the rule was meant for. But yeah, I think I fully agree. The fact that every team just got into playoffs is like, why the fuck did we just spend 6 months doing it?
Do you know what is possible during that time? If Philadelphia can combine, Philadelphia and Paris can combine the team together if they want it. We can just list our player and just send it to like Philadelphia.
Yeah, you just put like, or whoever, and then
But yeah, whatever. The point was that time is every time they say, "Oh, because COVID."
Yeah.
I hate that year. So before end of the season, I was very fine, everything system-wise, everything. But the last system was.
Yeah, sometimes I just feel like with Blizzard, they just like they made decisions, and it's like I feel like they're just trying to change or do stuff like for the sake of it. I feel like that was another one, the playoff thing, where I'm sure they took a team vote. By the way, I'm sure they asked every team like who should be in playoffs, and every team that wouldn't have been in playoffs was like, yeah, we should be in playoffs for sure. And it's like
maybe.
Because I remember that was the first time I'd ever typed in that Discord, and I was so fucking mad. I was like. Obviously, I come from a sport of football where we don't even do playoffs, so I'm like, does no one else see how fucking stupid this like system that we're in is? And I was like, that was the only time that I'd ever like got really mad in there, but I guess it didn't fucking change anything, and we still beat those bastards back home, so it's good.
Oh, by the way, sorry, I think I interrupt too much topic.
No.
I think a podcast is better when it's just people fucking chatting shit as opposed to like a point A to point B. But that does bring us to point C, which was why was Junbin on D.Va?
Okay, this is the point about what do I say is come from there is because I mean no one gonna believe this one, but Max is not good at stuff. I mean he good at the Sigma, he good at the Junker King, he good at the Hulk or whatever, but he doesn't play D.Va almost all time and good at the Zarya. So he D.Va is stop at the Overwatch 1. That was a problem. Overwatch 2 Diva and Overwatch 1 Diva was totally different, right? And yeah, but that is the reason like when we also want to be using the Monkey or Lado map, and that is the one thing we want to be using like a Junbin at the Monkey and Diva at the same time. And Max also have a very hard time after we swapped our desk like a 3-4 time because we PC Cafe room was literally tiny, and the tiny is really really tiny, and he have like a very hard time like a he's what is it sitting problem have an issue and the chair issue, and he have a lot of huge slump. And after a few weeks after he became better, and we just tried to use him using like the Lamatra issue, they have a lot of issue. But
did you guys, when you signed 2 tanks, was the idea to just play Junbin on main tanks and Diva on off tanks, or did you try like to actively make them learn every hero so they could both be super flexible?
do you think so?
Winston as well, no?
Yeah, because that's it. Like from what everybody saw, it looked like you signed 2 tanks, and the logic was let's make them so that they learn each other's heroes so they can both play everything. Because there was a lot of times, like I swear, every time in scrims at the start, every time you would put Max in, it would be to play a main tank, and every time Junbin came in, he was playing an off tank, and it was like I was looking at it, I was like, I feel like they're doing it the exact opposite way of how I would do it. I'm sure I'm not misremembering that either, right? Like that was like
Yeah, you're right.
yeah. So was it like intentional, or was it like just some like really like fucked up shit happening behind the scenes?
I'm not going to answer this one.
No way.
I mean, it's really have a lot of like a behind the way you say. I mean, but one thing is like a inside wise unhappy issue. Like
Okay.
I mean, I obviously don't want to do like a double tanker after the season 5. I mean, only the season 5 double tanker was working because the College and Mikey was total different style. Because College was like a very passive style, and Mikey was very aggressive style. So we using a very tricky way to making the like a tempo different, making other teams struggle. But Junbin and Max is hard to like a coaching the two player at the same time. I was kind of like really nervous about the coaching 2-time player, and we even don't have a time. So, and if you have like your stereotype about the or knowledge of the one tanker or one hero, you hard to like change your style, because I used to it. Like people say, used to it, and that is isn't like a Junbin like play the Diva and Max play the Monkey, because and player were having fun with that. And I mean, we have a lot of like making a lot of issue because of the behind the season. I mean, I know we making the wrong issue and behind the season or the issue wise, and try to like too much like a way to making the working. And I know it's not working well, but yeah.
Yeah, I felt like in season 5 when Overwatch 2 went to when Overwatch 1 went to Overwatch 2, it made sense because it felt like if you had 2 tanks, it was like we did it on London too. It was like I don't think I can teach Hadi all of the off tanks in like a month, but I feel like by the time season 5 was finished, every team wanted to really like have 1 tank if possible. Like I feel like every team kind of saw that the tank is so important. You just really want to keep that like consistency, and that was obviously why we never we let Poco go and we didn't like re-sign him, and we never like considered like signing like an off tank. And that's why it was like interesting that you guys like still went down that path. What about okay? Can you answer this one then? Why was Max a Baptiste player too?
Oh. Next guest, you can bring up Crossy and you can ask him.
Also,
come on. If we asked him, he would come on the podcast.
No, I think no, I don't know. I didn't ask it, but I think last point about the when. I mean, okay, okay. This is maybe really bad to answer it, but when he was playing about this, I can't even remember.
He played it. He played it a lot in scrims. Like before, you guys played it in officials. A lot of times, like because we have like a spreadsheet, right? Like X has a spreadsheet where everyone's like OPR numbers. We know who it is. And you would do some swap, and it would be like, oh, Max. Like because I swear Max played against us on support so many different times. Like it was when he eventually came out.
It was more later in the season, I think. Like I remember playing against like Ram Bap, and it was Max Bap.
Dude, they killed Vindy 100 times over in scrims. Like I remember they would lose a couple of maps and it's like, all right, Junbin is on Lucio now. We haven't even covered that actually. So we were still in the Max Bap section, but they were just permanently fucking like Vindy was getting replaced. Finn was getting benched on a hero that he was definitely competent on. Like it was just an endless string of fucking blaming the supports while simultaneously playing one of your tanks on the opposite tank's role. Like you guys were smoking crack.
The crusty crack pipe is for sure a real thing.
Go on, point a finger. Tell us who to blame.
I'm not Hillary Coach, so I don't know.
I need a name. I need a name.
I mean,
let's ask it a diplomatic way. Who made roster decisions in Shock? Like, who was like? Was it like a team effort, or did like the head coach make it? Was Andy Miller making it? Like, how did the structure work on Shock?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm Oyster Coach. What do you think about that? I know something. Oyster Coach doesn't have the power to know about anything.
It's a good system as assistant coach. Anytime something goes wrong, it's like, just what the boss man wants.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I think season 6 is probably everyone making the wrong decision a lot of points. And that is combined snowball-wise the biggest thing.
Before the season, did you guys think you would win the league? Like, did you have like a lot of confidence that this roster you'd built was like extremely strong?
Sure. But the one thing is the starting of snowball is come from non-Sombra team.
Yeah.
I hate that. Oh shit. I hate to be. We don't have a Sombra player.
I promise you, we said worse in this podcast.
No, I'm not swear. I just bring up so much like what I almost begging to the team. We need a Sombra player.
Couldn't you just put Proper on it? Couldn't you? I know you got the best tracer in the world on your team, but couldn't you just chuck Proper on it? You know.
Okay. The thing is,
I'm going to play tracer.
No, thing is that he's not a tracer player. Okay, he beat us. He beat with the tracer, so no doubt about this point. But yeah, what I want to say is that is come from the snowball wise earlier season. If we don't losing like that, and if we have like a literally high synergy, probably we was fine with the proper Sombra. But like a lot of time when we losing come from there, because you guys probably remember our Lamastrakon was like a May Sombra, and that time proper was Sombra, and what was working very very well. We have a fucking high win rate, and after, I mean, I think it's more give up here. Everyone like keep losing and hard like a bounce back about the high like their like a mentality going back to like their top tier, and a lot of time. This year I'm using like a one Carpet show. Carpet was like a speech on like a T1 Valorant team about how do like mentally like boost it, and I using one time that one, and I using a lot of like our championship like a synergy wise, and I try to get the more motivation as much possible, but it's sometimes hard to like making them like even I try hard like motivation wise, and I think sometimes people too much easy to spoil by like hiding or not trying hard. I mean, this is a Western problem a lot of time. If
you were all Korean, you can't blame the Westerners here.
No. I'm trying to say is it's spoiled. I spoiled by like a collagen thing. But no, my point trying to say is when you have a trying hard and when you fail it, you feel so much like a hard pressure, like a hard like a break. Like thinking about T1 when they're losing that year, Korea crying and our trying, we are trying a lot of year, and I think proper mindset wise, trying hard is not meaning like bring up like a winning anymore, and he just thinking he just do the average like not like a try hard, and he just want to be. But that that even though he trying, it's not meaning he's not trying. The thing is like etc. trying is like making more team buy more smoothly, right? But if you're doing the game like working, it's not making like a good synergy. And our synergy time is losing very earlier. So that is point about the Blizzard and Pillar 4. But
I remember season 2. I had like my first 3 stages, I was assistant coach, and I just wasn't like that fucking important. I wasn't doing anything. So when we would lose, I was like, whatever. When I effectively took over as Fusion head coach for like playoffs in season 2 because there was like it's a story for another time, but basically like Hayes wasn't there and Hui was like, I can't be asked. So I was like head coach. I tried so hard for those 3 weeks. Everything I did, I gave every single fucking hour of the day. I felt we'd made so much improvement. And then when we went into play-ins and just immediately fucking shit the bed and lost, that was like the hardest moment for me because I was like, oh, this is really shit actually. I really literally put every single hour of my day into something for like weeks. And then it didn't fucking matter. So I feel like it's actually way more demoralizing to try your best and then just lose than it is to just like, you know, like do like a Western mindset where you just kind of have a bit of fun. And then if you lose, well, it's like not the end of the world.
Yeah. I mean, I think season 5, after we losing to who we losing to against the team?
Probably Gladiators.
What? No, it's not what's not good. We losing
You
like
lost-
a
You lost to Dallas in like finals and also
no.
showdown.
At the final we're losing one time before we go to the grand final.
Oh,
who put you in lowers?
Atlanta? No.
Fuck no. Those guys came last.
Houston.
Oh yeah, Houston. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So after that, I have my knowledge about the way working this like a Sojourn Com at that time with the Kiriko, but only person was like help me in that time was Mikey. I mean, everyone was kind of negative about that like a strategy, and Mikey was helping me a lot of time, and that is making me to be like we get the motivation, and after we losing, we get the one more chance. And Mikey me like try to like a speech to the player about the way to work this one. And the one goal was like we want to beat I'm making the Dante enemy at that time because Dante was stupid monkey and he doing really wrong way to that, and that was baiting, but he doesn't know even baiting, and like a Junbin making him to be baiter, but like something like that. So and
It's
everyone
funny
like tries
Smash used the same approach on Gladiators to make Dante the enemy. So you guys must have at least similar coaching style.
Oh yeah, so like that. So so that is the way to be making like so we eat every single day same food every single day like a same like a clothes like almost like that, and we making the like a lot of way to make the team like energy about that way. So the point try to say is mindset is the most important thing. Like I mean, people not realize. I mean, people every time everyone know the mindset is important, right? But it's hard to even sometimes get it. So easy way is get it, make the enemy. So that time was our enemy was Dante. We losing, make it Dante, making our boost.
Dante.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dante.
On the topic of mindsets and that, so I guess it's a bit of a two-parter. I heard that in season 5, Proper and Violet would fight all the time. Like that there was lots of friction between Proper and Violet. I don't know how true this is or whether it was just Violet fighting with people generally, but I heard that Violet a very stubborn player. And then I heard in season 6 that apparently Proper was just the most toxic player in the universe, you know? Like as the season went on and as things got bad, I heard that Proper was really, really toxic. And I mean, you don't necessarily need to agree with it and be like, yeah, Proper's a piece of shit. But I am wondering, do you think when you've got a player like Proper, it's important to have someone else that's equally as great and also has a bit of friction in them so that then there's someone to talk back to them and to fight with them a little bit? Because it did seem like when Proper was on Shock in season 6, a lot of the stories were like, it's Proper's running the show. You know, people are apologizing to Proper personally for underperforming, stuff like that.
Sending him flowers.
Yeah, genuinely.
So why do I bring up the spoil one time is like you guys know Polish was very toxic guy earlier.
In his career or when he was on Shock?
No, before in his career.
Oh yeah, he had a few
Yeah,
allegations.
he is like and I asked the college why you're not like showing like a speak a lot and like showing your emotion is because he don't want to be bad guy anymore. So
he grew up.
Yeah, and they grew up making the way about the. I mean, I think that is not grow up. That is just avoiding. I say a lot of times the goal is this one, but Proper also doing the same way. He don't want to fight with the teammate. He don't want to be like doing something, and he just don't speak. Sometimes, a lot of times, like I just don't want to say anger because he tried to making the control his anger more than other thing. And that is but you know when you play the game, you can know that. Even you're not speaking, you know the vibe. Right?
So, he might not be calling me a cunt, but he's not happy.
Yeah. So it's, I think that, yeah.
Do you think it didn't matter to lose Violet then? Not just about skill, but in terms of like the leadership and the
losing the
atmosphere.
Violet? Losing the Violet is a different issue. Violet, I mean, Violet proper relationship is not really matter, to be honest. That is not really matter about the why we let the Violet go. Is Violet also making something stupid shit at the final? I mean, I can't speak about this. I mean, he's a good friend with me.
I mean, every time it gets to a playoffs game, you know, like Violet's getting ready for a SmackDown with someone. Like it was Gator, it was me. Like it's year by year. Like Violet's always got an enemy.
Yeah, but I think Violet let the go issue is like a really kind of it's kind of like a hard to say, but it's not like about it being wrong about this one, but it's more like he say it as a very funny way, might be, but it's making like a not bring up the final 5, like something like that. So we have a short time, and Violet also have a lot of time. He like stay at the shock, and that time he just also want to, I mean, making the roster wise and everything wise, and but Violet and proper relationship, I can say it was not good very earlier, and but after when the season finished, I think it was way better. Yeah. But every team have an issue with each other, I think.
Of course.
Every year, yeah.
Do you think you would have done better this year if you'd kept him? If you kept Violet or last year?
No.
No?
Yeah. Doesn't matter.
That's piping hot. Wow.
Actually,
okay. Yeah, that's crazy because you guys had Vindy and that guy's like he sucks.
Okay. I think if the Violet was there, one thing was like we never can see the Max spots.
Yeah, you would have had someone to play BAP instead of Max, that's for sure. But do you think you still would have had Junbin on Lucio?
Does he?
I mean, you did have Junbin on Lucio. I seen that.
He saw it. Maybe someone just had to go to the bathroom for a scrim.
I delete my memory from the season 6.
Oh yeah, no,
I don't have external hard drive anymore about the 6. So
I think we would have seen Violet on tank, like Violet or something. To be honest,
season 6 is everything I know is gonna happen, and everything happened is like you know the future, but it's came and you never can control it. Like it's something nightmare for me. So I really hate those.
I remember. So you were saying it about like how like Proper and Kaluj like hold it back.
Mm-hmm.
You know this 9K, but EQO when I first
like, did he not hold it back?
So there's this really fucking interesting thing, like the EQO case study, and I don't know if it's just like bad data or not. But when I joined Fusion in season 2, I had EQO was the most. I couldn't believe like how fucking horrible he was. Actually, I remember there was a time he came into the coach's room and was like crying about the player's level. And he said, "Oh, you need to force them to play more ranked." And I said to him, "Yeah, but you don't play any ranked." And he got in my face like this close and he screamed at me and he goes, "Do you have a fucking problem with my gameplay? Do you really think I need to improve my fucking gameplay?" And this is like a month into the job, like this close to me. And I absolutely fucking shit myself. No, it's good. The other 2 coaches are in the room just like, like they don't like jump in to defend me. They just let fucking like EQO just abuse me. And I remember I had a phone call after these conversations, and I said to my mum, I said, "He's the worst human being I've ever met, like in my entire years." And what happened with EQO was he was such a good player that we kept him on, and over the time he improved as a person so much. Like season 3, he was way better, like in terms of like he wasn't like getting angry, wasn't having fights, he wasn't fucking verbally abusing me on the regular. When you had him in season 4, you lived with him, obviously 9K, but actually you saw the best version of EQO. Like I don't think he was toxic. I think he was pretty willing to try. He's obviously still like a pretty time-consuming player. You had to talk to him a lot, right? Like but he had a lot of ideas about the game, and I actually think EQO in season 4 was a really good teammate. But I also think with EQO, there was like this inverse in terms of the worse a person he was, like the better he was like as a player, and like the graph almost like he would like get nicer and he would get worse. And there was a part of me, because I understand apparently in season 1, even I didn't season 1 EQ was apparently worse than season 2, which is like unbelievable. And what I wondered was like, was there a part of him where as he starts to control his emotions and be a better person, if that also somehow like affected his gameplay, you know, like he was actually somehow like he needed to like let everything out to be like the best player that he could be, but that obviously resulted in like having conflicts with his teammates. And I wonder if like maybe for Proper, because I feel like season 5 Proper was like season 6 Proper was still pretty good, but I think it felt way better in season 5. I wonder if it's like a similar thing where actually he should have just been like as toxic as humanly possible, and let all of his emotions out, and he would actually be like a better player as a result of it.
Yeah, I agree with you. So I think this is one of the things like happened to the last call at the season 1. You guys remember last call was a kick out from the toxism about the Dallas, right?
Yeah.
And I agree he is a have a toxism, but I don't mind about the people as a player have a toxism, but I think there's a Western team used to be have a lot of time like a blame about you say about the each other finger out is making you're doing something like a horrible thing to each other, and like a lot of time if you can you do scream more and can you focus more scream, and that is people say about this like a toxic a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I can't agree. I mean, and I think human being need to be like a be natural. I mean, be natural meaning is I also used to be like a very angry person. I'm still a lot of point, but when I try to be not showing my anger, I can't focus the game because I try to be away from my mind from the game, and I just try to release it. But I think your personal had to being like a really high level B person, you need to be showing your toxicity. Thinking about the tanker, a lot of good tanker is actually toxic. I mean, very few player is not toxic, but when you just like cut down your thinking about you want to be like a human being, and I think inside the game, human being is not good for the team. Inside more strong and like a anger is making because you need to fight with the against the enemy, but you try to be not hurting your teammate and you're just like cutting your a lot of your what is it strong point, like a strong mindset that is making. But I understand why people really have hard. There's thinking of the striker never can join like other team almost, and because everyone have a hard time with the striker. But as a shop, he never was like a bad person. I mean, he at some point I can say he was, but that is not point. I think Shock is the strong point about the mixer team. Is one thing is Trusty and me, I think including Jungbo was really good to control about the artisan player. Violet never can be human being. Violet is never human being. Striker is never human being, and Sam is never human being. Like a lot of players are not human being, but you need to want to win. You need to a not human being player.
Yeah, I actually felt as a coach, I always sided. I just wanted an easy personality. I felt like don't give me any problems and I can help you just steadily grow. And I know Gumba, he doesn't necessarily care about toxicity, but Gumba is very much if you have X, Y in terms of you work hard, you do this, I'll just sign you. I don't give a shit. Whereas I feel like what was interesting about the stuff that you would talk about when I spoke to you, and then also what you would say about Krusty is you guys really liked those aggressive, passionate, toxic players, which I would avoid. I couldn't coach players like that. I felt it was too big an ask. Whereas you actually felt like it was better. And I think you had a lot of success with those type of players. So I think that's Shock is really interesting in terms of it, the Krusty system is very interesting because it's obviously been pretty successful over the 6-year period. But I also feel like they did stuff that I would never go for, and I know a lot of other coaches would really avoid. For me, I can't think of anything more suicidal than signing Striker at any point in my career. I was I don't care if this guy's the MVP, but there is literally nothing you can do that will put Striker on my team. There was players that we had the opportunity to sign, which I looked at and I thought, nah, I just heard too many bad things about the toxicity. I just don't want it in my team. I just want I want nice people, and I think if we have nice people, then we can make something work. But it feels like Shock historically, if the talent's there and you've got like a little bit of a rough edge, we can handle it, you know?
Yeah, the mindset is that way. I mean, Jungkook, me, and Chrissy is we don't give a shit about that person is like a very not friendly or something like that, or a very toxism. We don't care. Last card was toxic. I mean, thinking about the season two. Season two, except Choi most, everyone is a toxic player. I mean, Smurf, everyone thinking about he's not toxic, but he's one of the toxic person a lot of point. But everyone is a toxic, and that is almost like each other don't want to losing to each other. So they're everyone like our stream is almost like we just like and we're mindset. Everyone is a very anger, and we point out every single team to the enemy. And Sinatra always good at that. Sinatra always time say we want to fuck them. We want to like destroy them, and that is making our team. We just like Baby also good at that, and Sleepy also like I like them a lot of points. So our mindset was good, and we also, as a coach, we learn from them, and we also like hate to the losing, and we just making the every single team it was enemy. And season two, Shock was like was isolated from the other team. We only friend with us, like we never friend with the other team at that time, and that is making our team stronger. And season three, if you remember about a lot of point, a lot of players say Bambas is toxic player. A lot of players actually say that, yeah. But he was damn good teammate. He's a damn good teammate, and he's
handsome too.
Yeah, he's a very nice. He's a one person making it easy to be rejoin the Far East Eternal. And Nico is also a lot of people say toxic player, but he's a good guy. A lot of point. So I don't care about the in-game wise toxism. It's matter at the game. If you're, I hate to be your isolate from the teammate. When you stream done, go home. He's good at the stream with the teammate. Oh yeah, laughing all good. Yeah. And just after the stream, just go home is worse than like a toxic teammate. So one thing I want to bring up the EQ was like I'm not sure you was at that time, but I say a lot of time to EQ why you try to not like showing your anger, and a lot of time and he thinking like a KDG called a lot of point about he's like an anger point. He like making the try to be like a not funny guy. But some people, I mean, a lot of time I say to this Choi, and a lot of time I say to this one from my ex-player, but don't try to listen what the coach say. Just listen about what you want to listen, or 60% or something like that. But some people, it's mindset why I think Korean player too much to listen about the coach, and Western player too much not listen to the coach. Yeah. So I still have I also have a memory about the last like a dream about the Josh 2 days ago. But I think Josh is one person I literally feel like he has to be joining the Shock at the season 2, or something like that. If it was under by Crust and me at the time, I think it was fine. But yeah, Sinatra was hate Josh a lot. Yeah, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Did you say you had a dream about EQO 2 days ago?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know why. But yeah,
I know why.
What? Tell me.
No, I can't. We're not an anti-Semitic
too far for that.
I think there's like something in like, you know, when you tell the story of EQO getting in your face and being aggressive and saying, is there anything wrong with my gameplay? I think even if he has like obviously a bit of an ego about his own gameplay, if you're going to get up and shout about how good you are, internally, you're going to have to try so hard to make yourself not look like an idiot, you know? Like you have to be sure if you're going to shout at people about how good you are and how shit they are, you have to be trying super hard, or you're going to look like a hypocrite or look like an idiot. So I think if you lose some of that, I think that's maybe why you see EQO like nicer person, but worse player. And I think it's true with a lot of players. Like even maybe someone like Hadi. Like I think Hadi's a very good teammate, but he's also got like that edge about him in terms of competitiveness and wants to fuck the enemy, wants to win. That maybe like without Hadi, I think London looks very different, because I think maybe Hadi and maybe Backbone Jamie as well, but like they are the players who have that edge.
Yeah,
And
I think
you need someone like that on the team.
if you watch that like Michael Jordan documentary that was on Netflix, like
Mhm.
he was a fucking arsehole to everybody, but like he clearly had that passion and like pushed people. I remember what Hadi, like we had 2 years on him with London, like he's like a brother to me. But even when we were doing this like flash ups tournament, he was like in my DMs fucking like flaming me because I wasn't like working hard enough. And I was like, holy fuck, like dude, like it's been like 2 years, like we have nothing but good memories. But then I have 1 week like or a few weeks where I'm in like Korea and I can't really like coach the same way I would. And it was like he was like, oh, what you're not trying or whatever. But I'm like, that's actually like a really positive like personality trait for him. Like even at the time, I'm like, fuck this guy. It's like actually that's what pushes him to be really good. And I feel like that like inner drive is really impactful. And I think you see in almost every successful like sports player, esports player, Overwatch player, whatever it is. Like all of the best always have that kind of like that like dickheadness to them, you know?
So this is the point. I really don't like the people matter about the why what they do at the scrim with the toxic, because thinking about the Kobe and thinking of Michael Jordan, if your practice time, you need to be toxic to your teammate. But at the match time, if you're toxic to your teammate, that is the worst person. I never can working with that person if you're toxic at the match time to your teammate. But if you're toxic at the only stream and not bring up that at the match, I don't mind.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lot of people that are toxic in practice, sometimes it's not productive, but sometimes it's just like telling people what they need to change.
Right.
People complain about the American Tornado players being toxic, but at the same time, the only reason half of them are even half as good as what they are is because they continually push each other further by booting up a screen share and flaming the fuck out of each other after every single round. Like they're constantly pushing one another further, and definitely like there's an element of constructive criticism in being an asshole, but if anyone ever gives up in a match, they're just dead. Like they're just worthless from that point forward, because if you don't have the mentality to stay strong in the match, even if you lose, like you're useless.
Yeah, well, in theory, you can justify being toxic in scrims because you want to improve, but there's no other reason to do it in matches. So there's probably a lot of players who are dickheads in scrims and are really, really good in tournaments because they genuinely are trying to win. I feel like in general, like I think the way London worked was very, very different. We had almost no confrontation, almost no conflict. Everyone was just like very nice to each other. I feel like there was a lot of players on London where if there was that like one toxic guy in the team that was like saying stuff, it would crush them, Like I wonder if there is something about like another Western Korean difference that we've identified during our 9 episodes. Yeah, 9 episode study. Or actually, like I wonder if Koreans take being like told what to do toxically in scrims better than Westerners, because I feel like Westerners they'll at least a lot of the Westerners I've worked with, they will hold resentment, they will lose confidence, and it's like, I'm actually not sure that him telling you that you were shit today actually improved, even though like it all like seems reasonable. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I don't know if I've ever seen
this
like
is
Korean...
need to be separated a lot of points, because as I'm working with the Western person, except almost Funestro and most, I think, especially me, every Western player who I was used to be working was toxic. Thinking about that, Bembes and Nico, Soon, EQ, and like Sinatra, Sleepy Baby, and every single person was, except probably Nomi and Doc. They were very good guys.
they were way too dog shit to be toxic.
Oh, don't say that. They're a very good guys.
They're nice guys. Doc was masters at this.
So my try to say is, I think Western player mindset, if you're not like a really want to be good, their mindset is really step away from the toxic. But Astro also different point. He's a toxic. I know what he toxic a lot of time. So, but I think Chris, your team is very unique, for my opinion.
I think so too.
I think without the Chris team, I mean, Lady was a toxic a lot of point, but they're not toxic to the. I mean, that's the onshore making the team very good vibe to be. They're not toxic to their inside. They're toxic to the outside. Yeah,
I mean, Gladi 22 was toxic inside too. Half of the roster left after we won 2 tournaments.
Yeah.
Like, there was always problems in terms of toxicity and stuff like that. But it was less people being like outwardly toxic, unless your name was Reiner and Ons. But a lot of people that would just like people doubt themselves too, or people are not good in practice. But at the end of the day, that team, every single player, match setting, toxicity does not matter. It mightn't have been very sustainable to the point that people literally left mid-year, but that was one of those teams where it's like no matter how much people are absolute fuckwits in practice in review, the match form was 100% there. Everyone was really 100% in it to win in the match. And even someone like Rhino, who would literally not take a single word from anyone in practice, you'd be in a scrim and he'd just be fucking trolling you for 4 hours a day, and then you'd load into the match and the guy would just have genuinely spectacular insights into how to win the match, and he would be listening to what other people were saying. Like he really wanted it, and he would actually try when it mattered. So yeah.
I think players sometimes too much thinking about the Korean player too much thinking about the screen matter. I think even a lot of coach, they think if it's not working at the screen, it's wrong. A lot of Korean, it is easy to be stereotyped about that. I think Western person mindset is easy to be non-stereotype. It doesn't matter screen, and a lot of times they say don't give a shit, and so sometimes they say cold turkey and whatever like that. A lot of time they just mindset wise, we doesn't matter about the screen. And I really thinking that this is why Shop and my X team was working very well with the Korean and the Westerner. And that is the reason I was like Shockwave a lot of time, because he was an idiot guy I ever seen. I just sometimes put the player, not because of mechanic is good or bad, just making the team more smooth vibe is making the match time better. A lot of team. So still the mindset issue, but I think a lot of Westerner doesn't want to be trying hard at that point. I think Scream, they don't want to be Scream is a serious. One time I was really shocked about when the Poco retired posting, he say he never liked the Scream. I was kind of Scream, you never can have fun with the Scream, even you're winning.
You can definitely have fun with scrims.
That is not Scream way too. Definitely. But my point about that very some point you can have a fun, but at some point you can have a very media way. You really need the heart to you really need to focus on a lot of points. Oh, nice code.
I got it in China.
Can we get a fit check?
It's not that. It's just I went for a run before this, but it's starting to cool down a little bit, so I get my little.
For the Spotify viewers, it's exceptional.
Yeah, it looks good, right?
NineK is wearing his signature hoodie as well. SF Shock hoodie. Yeah. Never seen NineK not wearing a hoodie for what it's worth. Pretty sure there's actually not even a person under there.
Because I don't want to be sure people realize me. The hoodie is the only way.
How jacked he is, you don't want those muscles and stuff. They don't want the will to see it.
You might not know it, but NineK was actually on the first season of Physical 100 while coaching in season 6. The reason that his memory is so hazy about S6 is because he was actually simultaneously recording for Physical 100. I do quite like that coat, actually.
It's so warm. The problem in China, they don't have heating, so you all have to wear these. In England, heating's too expensive. Unfortunately, our government doesn't really allow us to turn the heating on. I guess X is fucking rich because he's in a t-shirt. This fucking.
Oh, it's our jumper. I get away with it because the office I'm in is very small. So if I sit in it long enough, my body heat and the computer heat generate it up to about 15, 16, and I can avoid the costs of heating.
That's it. So it's good to live in 2024 and no one can afford to put their heating on. Doesn't mean that's a good sign for the country that we're in.
Are we going to talk about the weather issue?
Oh, the weather's okay. Korea's way worse for the cold than England. I went out for a run at 6 a.m. today and it was relatively.
It's the middle of fucking summer.
Now,
what's it like in Korea? Well, it's 30 degrees at 9 p.m. for me right now. I don't know about NineK. I thought he'd be cooking.
No, Korea is cold these days, right?
Yeah, very cold.
Yeah.
So I'm the only one that's just cooking.
Australia has different seasons, no? Do you not
something about a hemisphere? Yeah.
Is it actually summer for you or is it winter?
It's actually summer. It's
summer.
30 degrees.
The seasons are reversed in Australia.
Yeah.
They're cold at the summer. Very weird to say, but there's a
crazy.
June is a coldest time, right? June and July around.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's mental.
That's why they always have barbecues at Christmas in Australia.
I didn't
Yeah,
know that either. See,
Oh,
you learn a lot in this podcast.
Yeah.
let's stop talking about the weather.
Okay, I think Dallas weather was worse weather at our land time.
Like humid, right?
Yeah, it was almost hard like breathing. It was literally worse.
Is Korea gets pretty fucking humid in like rain season too, right? But maybe not. as bad.
It's just during the summer. Yeah. It's not bad at like a probably Dallas.
Anyway, we continue to talk about the weather.
Should we'll steer it back to Overwatch. Yeah.
No, land was Overwatch. Okay.
So, I guess one thing that's really interesting that you've experienced working with so many different coaches in Overwatch League is you've worked with Rush, you've worked with Krusty, Junkbuck as well, Chris. You probably have a very interesting insight into what are the differences between maybe someone like Krusty and Rush and Junkbuck.
Yeah, I think everyone has a different strong point and weakness point, and I think Chris' strong point we already mentioned before, but I think he's making the team really happy vibe, and that vibe is making the team more high synergy. And he's speaking way about the team very easy to understand. I think one thing I learned from the Chris is he doesn't want to be like making the complicated way to be making the people understand. He just wants to be very simple. And I'm really thinking that's making the one thing like really making team very high level. And Trusty, I think. He's a strong point is that he is good with making the player, what is it, like a top ceiling player. Like he making the bottom tier player or something player. He easy to break the ceiling about the like a player to be like a good. So I think he's a strong point, and he good with the supporting about the what is it, like a good player to be more good. But I think during the season 4. I think he kind of losing that vibe because he after COVID and a lot of issue, he don't want to be like pushing hard too much like a player, and he used to be like a very toxic, but not anymore that much toxic as before. So, but I think still he have a lot of potential to be making the player to be like a go to the hierarchy. So you know the gacha game. Do you guys understand the meaning of the gacha game?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So he's he during the gacha a lot of time and making the big player like a strong, and he push. I mean, he a lot of time to say to me like, he coach mindset is like a whip flush. Do you guys know the whip flush? No. That like there's the one person like making like a really push the player hard time and make him became good.
Oh, whiplash, right?
Yeah. Sorry
about yeah.
And he like a lot of time he like using that one for his coaching like what is it? Mindset.
See,
I don't know what I said. Yeah.
Are you saying that Krusty's inspiration was the movie Whiplash?
Yeah.
That's so funny because that's actually that's a story about abusive relationships and the toxicity of that.
Yeah.
And then it does tie back to how we said, this it might be toxic as fuck, but at the same time, it does kind of produce.
Yeah, his mindset is come from there.
You know how there's like a group of like people like that watch the movie American Psycho and just like it's like a red pill thing, right? Like they all take the movie American Psycho and their lesson is Patrick Bateman is so fucking cool, like fucking serial killer. The same thing, like Whiplash. Oh, let's abuse this kid. What's a good idea?
he was banging those drums real good in the finale.
Yeah, they only think about the lizard. They only think of lizard. I mean, do you know actually one time in Korea drama where we flashed like I think Korea like a family like parents watching that movie or the drama and thinking about if you abuse a kid, we can make them good. Doesn't matter you're hurting your mindset or whatever. And I think KDJ Rush is a lot of points similar, but I think slightly different because they come from the StarCraft and they're really want to make the 5-man player to be coordinate working like making the one goal. Like Trust is more like a one person like a making the Bright is making the game more easy, and Rush is making still he's the same. Like he's a more come from like a football mindset. One striker and one other like a player help this striker to be make a goal. This is a Rush mindset. But I think every single coach have the same issue. Is for me is when they have a like a Bright timing is more like they have a good year start or good tanker with them. Yeah.
Yeah, I've actually said it many years, but like actually the reason London was successful and the same reason Philly season 3 is that good start is fucking everything actually.
Yeah.
Like if you can start like high confidence, get a few key wins, then it's like if you have a shit start, like obviously we did this season, it's way harder to turn it around than it is to just like start strong and keep it going.
A lot of time I say to my ex player, if the season 2, if the shop didn't making the final at the stage 1, we probably not have that much great year. That was like a lucky season for us a lot of time. I thinking a lot of time thinking about that. And yeah, season 3 also similar and like that. So I think personally coaching style, everyone is different style, but I think Rush and KDG is more making the like a 5 and or 6 man right now. Before it was 6 man. 6 man working very like a
same
like
page.
A clock. Yeah, same page like that. They're literally high in my that.
I'm really curious actually because I've got this like preconception that Rush, you know, he might be like very much like he has a vision for the team from the top down, but he doesn't have like very strong game knowledge. I'm curious as to whether you agree with that or not, because when people talk about KDG, they all say fucking genius about the game, you know, really high level knowledge, really smart, you know. Would you say that same thing applies to Rush, or is he more like a general vision that he's trying to fit in? Because sometimes I would watch Dallas play and it was like he would make players not play the game in order to work with the vision. I remember there was this time when like Edison was playing Genji and fucking Harbin is on Zarya at the back of the map just pressing E on Edison. Like all he's doing is just this one job. And I feel like if you're simplifying the game to that extent, like it's got to be like a joke almost.
Okay. So I think this question I can have like approach to like a Chris. Chris, do you remember like one team was like a who was the person moved to the Chelsea after the year about that year they get the champion year? Very weird
Mourinho?
team was a. Sorry?
Jose Mourinho?
No. I'm talking not clear about I'm talking about the team. The team about the moved to Chelsea defender after they win the year Premier League winner, and after they have like an airplane crash or something, and they're like a. What's the guy of name? I don't remember.
I actually have no idea.
I mean, it was like a very weird team win the year.
Leicester?
Oh yeah, Leicester. Leicester
Okay.
City. Yeah, Leicester City's strategy. Do you remember, Chris? Their strategy is very weird strategy in that year because their strategy is only one is like their defender just shoot from the crossover the map to like a really far via, and they just won't get the goal. No one can block it that time. So my point try today is he doesn't want to follow the stereotype of the way of the game. So it's not meaning you're doing wrong, but he just have a different mindset. He's like try to think. So you can't say that it's like don't have a knowledge of the game. He knowledge is like working only his way.
Do you think he was a one trick, like a vision one trick, one style for everything?
He's just comfortable with that style. I mean, it's not more one trick style, but I think he.
I guess like historically that Dallas team was really, really good in those Lucio metas, and then was really like not good in like the other metas, right?
Yeah. Because I think very slow meta is more individual person mechanic is important than like any other thing. But if you're fast meta, I think it's more team individual doesn't matter. I think more team can be like hard carry. So I think slow meta definitely Crossy is strong. Fast meta Rush is strong, and more like each other like a skill wise like really necessary. I think that is probably KDG and Jungkook strong, and yeah, it's my conclusion. So
okay. All right, so Rosh, not a fraud.
The fraud meaning like he's not good meaning.
It's like it
or
means
he just,
everyone
like,
thinks he's good, but he's not good. Like
okay, I think coach good and bad is like you're hard to explain
Yeah.
about this. Just like every single thing. It's like I mean, someone can say like Kirsty is doing wrong, Kirsty doing good, but I think only thing like I can say is if you have a credit about the winning, that is doesn't matter about any other thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Winning is
definitely
everything,
cases like I felt like Moon won with Shanghai, but I feel like everything that you hear about Moon is like he didn't fucking do anything. If he was on like a different team, like he wouldn't have done it. But actually, then the players that were on that team, I think, say, "Oh, it was really good what he did." You know, like it was actually like really impactful. So I
Like
definitely
Gumba said he could lead the free world. Like he's got something.
But yeah, he was like a charisma leader, like a
Yeah.
personality leader.
Yeah, but like I think
Yeah.
people like said that like if I think there's a lot of teams where if you come in with a little bit of charisma, it doesn't fucking matter, you know. Like some teams need actual like substance, you know.
Well, you know, if you didn't have the talent in the first place, you were never going to win regardless, right? You know, so
Yeah,
I think it's
guess.
kind of like, yeah.
I know my feeling sometimes is like I feel like actually what happened is for the first 3 or 4 seasons of Overwatch League that the standard of coaching was like so much lower that I actually feel like Krusty is maybe like my personal opinion is like Krusty was like a good coach. I don't think he got worse, but I think that the level of like coaches around him got better to the point where he started to look like a bit weaker, you know? Like I feel like in traditional sports too, I think the idea of having a coach who only does like mindset stuff or leadership stuff, I feel like there's just it never wins at the highest level. Like the highest coaches are always the ones that like are implementing their system, that understand the game at the highest level. And I feel like someone like Gumba, even though obviously he's been around for a long time, I feel like as it kept going, like that Gumba style of coaching, which is like very hands-on, like I guess like KDG, like in a similar way. I think those would have kept like continuing. You see a lot like a lot of players that were good in season 1 and 2, even if they'd maintained their level and put it in season 6, I don't think they would be good. You know, like I think that the level of just like over time, the level of play of Overwatch has gone higher, and I feel like the level of coaching too went higher.
I kind of agree and kind of disagree because I think Goomba this year was kind of lucky because he has a merit. Because merit is a personality. It's really easy to play with the Goomba style. Because he's a kind of not have he that much good. He don't have like a strong ego. He's just like if the coach want, yeah, go ahead. Like that. He's like easy to like control it. Because that isn't coach also need like a right person, the right timing, and also player also. I think because you guys probably know some player never can work with someone.
Yeah,
like, that isn't like striker was only like can working with the Percy.
Yeah, like Gumba for sure. If he'd like coached Boston this season, it would have just been like an unbelievable shit show where like everyone would have just fucking left the team within a week.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I think it's more. I mean, but I think average is high is more important than any other thing because average highway is meaning like a Rush and Krusty both have a really high time with Lizard and Jungbok season 5 also they're making the Lizard early good Lizard without the year. This season I think they're good, but Goomba this year I agree he's good. And last year he was trying good and that was pretty good. But I don't care about this one season, 1 year, because that is not meaning a lot of thing about your coaching skill. Like you can be good with that, doesn't matter about the year.
Do you think if you judge coaching, are you one of these people that thinks, oh, like you should judge a coach by if they win, or do you judge a coach by like how much better they make the team than maybe you expected to? Because I feel like Gumba, this was obviously the first time he's won, but I feel like we spoke about this before. We're like the biggest Gumba heads on this show. I think like we really like him. I mean, we've said that every season he's been super successful, even if he hasn't been winning. You know, like he's been taking like that Valiant roster, like he took them to places with like a budget and stuff that you wouldn't expect them to do. Even like his first year in Florida, I think he made them maybe slightly better than they could have been if someone else was there. Do you look at the best coaches and say the ones that win, or do you think that like I guess like when I won Coach of the Year, I won it without winning anything or ever coming close to winning any of the tournaments, right? But like the idea was that like there was a certain level of improvement from a team that people expected to be bottom. How do you like rate those factors?
That's really hard to answer a lot of points. Personally, why I give a credit to the Goomba and Jungkook and Crossy and Rush is they never change the team a long time. Goomba 2 times a year, and Dallas was like almost 4 years, and I think Jungkook after seasons 2, 3, he kept the Houston and Crossy also full time. I think my point to try to say is, if you keep, I mean, you make the head coach need to making the culture of the team, right? The system of the team. So I think who making the system of the team is more important than any other thing. Because I tried to do GM, head coach, and assistant coach, and I have a lot of experience. I think the most important coach is the head coach job is making the system of the team culture. So Goomba, I can see from the outside from the game, he making the system of the culture of his team. So he is a good coach, definitely. But if the team just only want to isolate for the winning, Goomba is not a good coach. Because this year winning is not because he's a good coach. It's more meta was good for him. If the Sombra was meta, he never can win, right?
Is that his fault, or is that just the fact that
no,
so
more of
you
a
can't
player issue
control
than a coach issue?
So my point is my point to try to say is Rush, his style is more tournament style because he doesn't matter about the meta. He want to create the meta, and Goomba is more like want to make it their system, and Kersey is more want to making the more he's big player making the goal. So when he's losing the big player every single time, he has a losing his power a lot of points. So I think it's more like a defend of the personality. It's not you can say about the one coach is good, one coach is bad, because there some coach if you're losing the key player, and the time you still want to making the winning trophy, I think that is hard.
Yeah.
So that is the reason when Super left and it was really critical to the Crossy because he only played with the Super almost 5 years, right? And when he losing Super, he losing a lot of point. After he losing Violet, he losing a lot of point, and he losing Sinatra, Kepser. No, Kepser. I mean Dream Kepser. No, so my point about that, he is a kind of unlucky guy. A lot of point about that. He losing so much he's underkeyed, and striker ans even included that. So I think I can't say because trust is bad because he losing so much he come from the team, and Russia is still trying hard about to create the meta, and he was working at that time. If you see the Asia culture, like Asia this year, I mean, still Rush making by break the meta by his way.
The Queen Bassi and stuff was his Dallas, right?
Yeah. It was good. So I think I give a lot of credit to them. And so my point, and Goomba is trying to make his own system. I can see from a lot of time. I think when I was realized it's probably season 3, the Valiant. Valiant was really strong because of Kai, but also in different point is they tried to making their own system, and that was really huge strong point. And season 5, I talked with Axie because Axie was at their team, and when I talked with Axie, I think Goomba style is want to be just listen about the coach, but that is meaning he's probably have a hard time if you're working with the Sinatra,
right,
or like a EQ or something like that. And so I can't say, but that is not meaning Goomba is bad. Goomba just needs the right person.
Yeah, I agree, 100% actually. I think in the right system, Goomba, I believe, is the best coach. But I also believe if he didn't get to control his players, I think his style would I think it's the same as me. Like I feel like I would really struggle with like some of like these like top teams with like the players need to have like a lot more like input. And I think that's maybe where Krusty like has historically been so good, is that he can like get all the best players and like kind of like control all of them so no one runs away with the team. I think, I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to interrupt you, but you can't say Striker, Sinatra, and Mose and Paolo was good player. There was not good player at all. The starting a lot of points. I mean, in the end, they're good. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, but I suppose the question is that like, how much of a player's growth do you associate with the coaching, or was it like, was Violet just like a good player, or like if Violet had been on a different team except Shock, would Violet have been the player that he was?
No. Never.
Then...
Sinatra also never.
All right, so you're crusty pilled, incredible crusty pilled.
You're really crusty.
And he hates Gumba. He hates Gumba, and he's crusty pilled.
That's good. That's why I'm glad to have on. We have we've been doing 9 episodes of just shitting on Krusty, like praising Gumba as the GOAT. Now all of a sudden we get like a counterpoint, That's
I mean the counterpoint's pretty reasonable too, right?
Yeah,
like if you put Gumba coaching Ons and Sinatra at the same time, how would that season go?
No way. Then it's gonna be never working.
Someone would leave.
Yeah.
I don't even give one credit to Goomba at that time. I mean, but trust in me, I'm still a good friend with the Sinatra, and he's still with the Ans, right? But I think if the Ans Goomba was there, Ans is just like retired during the season.
For sure, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we got that on lock.
Yeah.
Doesn't take a lot to make Ans retire mid-season.
So I just really funny about the people who just judge about the coaching is like just 1 year or just like a very few moments about that. So I guarantee like Junbin and Goomba this year, they're doing great work and a lot of point. But it's not meaning is like Trusty is bad, Rush is bad, doesn't matter to be honest. Because I work in like a 6th year, I saw a lot of coaching and a lot of way. Can I say Moby was bad coach because he was bad at some point? No, he making the Bulls on top 4. Yeah, I mean it doesn't matter. I think coaching skill is some people too much expecting that skill is something miracle magic. Like I just making this magic to like a people, but I think one of the strong point about the coaching to me is this esports. You never can find of the right person, right timing. If the Krusty working at the probably more university coaching, like a player not change a lot of, I think he have a really high leader a lot of time, and Goomba also in the same time. But this industry player just too much swap a lot, and you need to work with the random guy every single year. And that is one of the hardest points. And I think that is making the Krusty toxism much more less. Like we bring up the EQ, we bring up like a pose and like a proper. But that point, I think he used to be was like making a lot of player crying and like making the anger to them to the showing. Like, but after COVID, like everyone mental break, everyone say retire every single year, and that's making the Krusty weak a lot.
But I think whenever
Krusty was washed.
Well, whenever it happened, like even if you think like when Rush and Dallas win, how much of that is also the right players in the right meta at the right time, and even a right meta that Rush is better at coaching as well. Like maybe a meta where DPS players matter a little bit less, and it's all and Chio Fielder they can really carry, Hambin can really carry. Oh no, it was Fearless, but yeah, same thing, right? And a meta that suits for players, suits for style, and then it all just lines up. And then maybe you look at Goomba's victory and like, oh, actually, the strongest thing to do in this meta is to be able to play a few different comps and to counter swap a lot. Well, it is perfect for Goomba's style.
Can I give a hot take then? I think even if Sombra wasn't nerfed and we played on Sombra Tracer patch, I still think Goomba and Florida win the league. That's what I think.
That's fucking
really?
You're
no way.
But I feel like I have pretty good evidence.
You think they broke the meta?
They beat Houston and Atlanta on that patch before the patch changed. Like they beat both of those teams at the end, like after midseason.
Didn't the patch change after midseason?
Yeah, it's changed. After midseason, it changed.
Everyone was playing Sombra Tracer up until the like after mid-season, there was like 3 weeks on the same patch, or at least the same meta, before they changed it again when they brought in Alari and stuff. 100%.
I think it had changed. Something had changed in the patch. It was just all these teams had been fucking one-tricking it for like 17 months, so they just kept doing it.
Yeah.
Like those teams, like
It was
Houston,
like
Atlanta, like they just kept playing it because it was all they were good at the time because they'd practiced it so much.
Yeah, this
The patch
isn't
changed.
very earlier. We against Atlanta, we were getting like something like that, or later. Yeah, something. So my point trying to say is, okay, Chris, that doesn't matter. The point I tried to say is, I'm not trying to say it's Goomba worse, but he has his strong point, and he needed lifetime for that.
For sure.
Is the point, yeah. Like Chris, if you think about you play with the Sinatra and the Ans, I think you're just guitar before.
Yeah, probably just yeah. At the same time, I feel like maybe if Krusty worked with like the London guys, like he would maybe like find it more difficult too, because like there's like no fire with like the same like explosive fire that like the Sinatra type players would have.
You need fist fights in the office to keep Krusty motivated. Is
yeah,
the thing.
Seems that way.
That just
That's
wasn't
why he brings
happening
back
in London.
Striker. That's why he doesn't start Striker. He brings him back to add some spice into the mixture, you know?
It's like, Nero doesn't seem motivated enough. I need Striker in here to get some fist fucking flying.
But I think Krusty Way have one problem, and Rush also have a problem. But if I want to bring up the Krusty problem is he giving too much spotlight to the one person, and that's making the star player. That is good for the team, good for the league. But sometimes inside of the player or that person easy to go to get the ego high.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And yeah, I think Rush player problem is so much like an individual player. It doesn't matter, so it's more like a player kind of can't carry by themselves. It's very like and I think also fielder is the right person, the right timing, because if the fielder was not joined at the season 3 Paris, I think Rush styles never can be worked after the year, because why Paris was working is because Hip was totally same as a fielder. He's just totally just killing person, and like sometimes Nate clutch it, but that is like really lucky for us. We like Hip a lot, and when the Hip retire, and when oh shit, I forgot his name. Gray. Gray was like a really aggressive player, and Rush doesn't like it. But Krusty liked the aggressive like support. So there's like a meta different, style difference. So, and by the way, I pick up the fielder. I can say this one. I never say it on the other stream, but I pick up the fielder. It was not Rush's decision. It's a lot of things I can say. So I'm making a good decision a lot of time, but I never say to the outside the streaming.
It's funny actually, because obviously because you had like Cruz on that team, and Smex technically was there, and they're obviously my boys. So when we spoke about like who was good on Paris, actually every one of the Western players said Rush did fucking nothing and NineK is the greatest coach of all time, and that was it. I just took that as like a fact, and then I was like, okay, Rush is a fraud, like overrated.
No.
And then Rush obviously started to win, and I thought, is it possible Cruz was the problem? Like, is it possible like Cruz's opinion of what was happening at the team wasn't fully accurate? So on that Paris season, like, was it you did the work with the Western players and he did work with the Korean players, so that they're like, because I know Cruz was it Aid was the coach? Cruz hated Aid so much, like actively like despises it.
Okay. This is how the system works at the Paris tunnel. So basically, why do I say most of the time is because except 8, their English level is Rush can't speak English, right?
Yeah.
So I need to do speaking most of the time to them to be because of translate. And me and 8 and Rush and Levy was sitting in the one room, and we during the stream whole time we arguing each other and making the conclusion, and that conclusion we bring up to the table. So, I mean, but we argue a lot of point about that. So I think Rush, a lot of people thinking about that way by a Western person is because Rush can't speak English.
Yeah, that's kind of over
point.
time was that.
Yeah.
He does nothing, but it's like no, he just doesn't coach you. That's like the difference.
Yeah. So because player doesn't know what's going on with the coaching side, because that isn't sometimes we need to like why do we force to the aid is it's not only aid opinion to the crews is because it's come sometimes from the me, sometimes from the Rush, because Rush's style is like ask the coach player or player just go to directly talk with him. Like I heard one thing when I heard that during the season 5, A just say to the last call to go to Guryu and fix it, and A to go to the Chiyo like that, and he just more because he just individual coaching more DPS player and sometimes tank player. But most of the time like a DPS player. So he's more DPS guy.
Sparkle, only Sparkle.
No, Edison making the good dessert at a lot of year with him in season 5. But I think he required a lot of high levels like support. I mean, every team needed like at that point.
It's true.
Yeah. But if you want to get the credit by winning from the DPS, I think good need to be like a lot of good flex support.
We can do a quiz.
No shit.
Oh, we got a quiz now, have we?
Yeah. Well, all right.
Chris has rustled one up.
Oh wow.
Okay. So, do you guys know the game Higher or Lower, where it's like you turn over the 10 of clubs and you have to guess if the next one is going to be higher or lower?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give NineK a list of every. I don't want to say white guy because actually some of them are not white, but every Westerner that he's coached on Shock. I don't include the season you weren't there, or maybe I should.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because their Western is not changed.
What we're going to do is we're going to name someone, and then you two, my fellow co-hosts, need to guess if he thinks this player is better than the last one. And if you guess it right, you get a point. If you guess it wrong, you don't get a point.
Okay.
Do you understand the thing? So
I think if you're only including the Westerner, it's not that much. I mean, it's kind of
on my list. I have like 12 or 13. That's what.
Okay, there's enough.
So, okay, so we can use Luke Mino as the benchmark. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll come in with Renko. So then X and under, you guess. Do you think is like higher or lower? And then NineK reveals the answer, and we put a point and a little.
So
nice
the question
tick
is Renko higher than Luke?
Right.
Or better than Luke? Yeah.
In NineK's mind.
In NineK's mind.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with. Because I'm gonna go with no. Luke is better.
You're crazy. Higher.
Okay, Chris, do you think as a flex support or as like just in general?
Just in general, like I think
Luke's got a mean DPS.
Because we're gonna compare it with like
They played
like
Renko.
But as
this is
decisions.
The problem is this is the hardest question for me. Probably
Yeah, because it's like everyone knows Luke has more skill, but they played Renko, so clearly they valued something about Renko more, like his smile or something.
Smile.
They were like, "We're getting fucked. We need something. We need something to take away from the results right now." And they put a guy that smiles in.
Okay, you make me kind of positive way, so I think Blanco is higher.
I fucking biased the answer.
That's actually incredible. In the Uncoachable quiz, the player can impact the answer.
Yeah, because the point is like okay, this point is like sometime I because you guys know it's not right and wrong. They have no way about right and wrong because their uncle definitely not uncle. Lenko is definitely have a high level the team synergy and individual mechanic definitely Luke is better. So it's hard to say about that. But if my personal opinion, I'm gonna choose Lenko.
Imagine if you did Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and you could just convince them. No, I swear it's me. Okay.
Only because of the player. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. We keep Renko and then we put Sam. So S9mm, higher or lower than Renko?
That's hard.
I feel like we're actually we've got like the same question in play as the previous one.
I think it's just like come from 22 and 23, you know?
You just got to pick different come.
That's like who's coming up.
Who's coming up?
Yeah. We'll go lower.
Yeah, lower.
So Sam is lower than Lenko?
Sam is lower than Renko, yeah.
Oh, this is... Yeah, I think lower.
Okay.
Only the reason I really take a long time because I know if I say this answer, Sam gonna be hurt.
Oh, well, it's good that you undid any of the emotional damage that you might have dealt to him by saying that you already knew the answer and you were just
Because
pretending
it's not meaning about the point about that, but I think Sam year for me is unfortunately Sam is kind of
shit.
No, it's not shit because he making
Kinda
the team. Making the team more bonding, a lot of point like that. But that is also by a Lenko same, so only time like that. But I think a lot of final he making like very well.
So he was like a useless assistant coach, but you were stuck with him in the server.
Like Chris Tieffer.
No, I think it's still a hard answer, but because this is the point. This is the point. Why do I say why give it the Lenko is higher is because Sam was starting the season and he helping a lot of point, but Lenko was like a really falling down Tom, right? But Lenko bring up the at least higher at that bouncing. So there's the only reason. I tried to say about I tried to say about what they effect for me and during the season. So,
Renko was good in the clutch.
Yeah. So he making the team more, making the bounce back. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so then we can do the quiz too. Is we can either keep like Renko until someone beats him, and then we figure out like a power rank, or we can just move it to Sam and then.
No, I think that's better. Keep the Lenko and just going like up and down.
Okay, Renko is the benchmark. Okay, I'll give you an easy one. IDDQD.
Renko clears.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go. Renko clinches this one as well, actually.
Yeah.
NineK.
Liquid's higher.
Yeah, I the guy ego out of control. Every interaction I have with that guy, I fucking hate him.
Yeah. Wait, when is Renko going to change, or is Renko the benchmark for all of this?
Because someone's better than him.
Okay, yeah. Right.
Okay. So then let's do Renko, Mikey.
Oh, sorry.
He kind of pulled the.
I was going to say Mikey for what it's worth. Yeah. I think Hunter was
we
going
can
to say
go get a consolation point.
Still at least scuffed.
Oh, my bad. Sorry about that. You guys,
we're never bringing you back on this show, man.
Okay. Mikey. Mikey Nevix.
Mikey.
Yeah, Mikey, for sure.
Yeah.
It is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mikey Dante.
Mikey,
yeah.
Okay. Mikey's on a good run here.
Mikey
Kaluge.
Ooh, season 5 showdown. Mikey.
Kaluge.
I think.
Oh.
Because I can say the reason about the behind this, like a grand final Tom, Mikey is more effectively help and drink that, but Pools is like a enter after shipper. He need to be working behind the shipper shadow, and that shadow is the worst shadow probably people can I think do. And that time Pools was never crying about that point, showing to us, and that mindset was really we can make to the go to the grand final at least. And if we falling down that time, I think we never can make it the grand final. So I give a lot of credit to the coach at that point.
I think he got so much better. Like that season 5, especially on like the Winston type heroes, I think Kaluge got so much better.
Mm.
And then years after finally overcoming Super Shadow, Kaluge is benched on his best hero by the Shadow that has become a streamer for 2 years straight.
All right. Then I've got Nomi and D-Hack on this list, but I don't think they're going to beat anyone on the list, so we can maybe skip those.
Just
Okay, then this one. Okay, we only got a few left. Okay, Kaluge or Moth?
Moth.
Kaluge.
This could be bait though, because Moth. He said that Moth sucked at the start, so he could have like a pretty average opinion on Moth.
My answer is Moth.
you're just getting slashed here, dude. Like there's no.
No, the reason about the why I say Moth is Moth is a kind of filler to me. You never ever can see that kind of personality can help the team working on. So, I mean, I working at FT God, working with the Funniest Row. I almost like working like a lot of Lucio player, but he doesn't have a mindset wise about the like a strong Lucio player. But he still listen to a lot of them. He's an incredible genius. And if I say a lot of things before the match, he every time remember and during the match time he bring up. Like I say to like that was all what do I one time I remember a grand final and stage 2 I let the time Vancouver always like try to do like a cheese play and during like a hard time like a lot of time, and that time most bring up and Choi was like eating like a leaper ultimate like because of that. So his voice wise and a lot of effect for that, and so I give a lot of credit to most, but this dude never answered my message back. Because no, he deleted everything. Like he never showing. He doesn't want to be like involved anymore in sports industry. He's like, I mean, he will be back in the end, but right now he's just like,
What do you mean by that? Like, there's a day of reckoning coming or something? Like,
as a person,
he'll be back. He'll be back.
I really like the most. I really like. He's one of my favorite guys.
Okay, then. Moth or friend of the show, Sinatra? No comments from me.
It has to be Sinatra on top.
Yeah, I feel like Sinatra's going to be like the number 1 or number 2 slot for sure.
Yeah.
He answered me back.
Oh yeah, there you go.
No,
if they respond to 9K or not in DMs to know how high they are on the list.
No, that is actually important. Your ex-player answer you back is important.
Okay, then we have the grand final, the best shock player of all time. That's not Korean. Sinatra or Super?
I'm sticking Sinatra.
I'll go Super, just because like Super had this longevity, so maybe there's some value in that. But like
I was not there.
Oh, so it's gonna be Sinatra in his mind because he only fair. Who is it, man? Fucking pick one.
Yeah, Sinatra.
Oh.
But if I shock Steph, Chipper, because he's doing too much like the long term wise. But as a coaching wise, I only coached like Chipper and Sinatra at the same year.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So there you go. Not only does he get brought up every week, he was actually the winner of this week's quiz. So I would also, obviously not like to comment too much.
No, because one thing...
I thought I won the quiz.
Sinatra won.
Okay. I want to say this one on streaming. I never say after the issue happened why do I like Chipper and Sinatra? Because a lot of time Sinatra, Super is very earlier. His mindset is really Western mindset. He doesn't want to do extra work. He doesn't want to do like extra stuff like that. But at that time, always like a Sinatra, if he not listening to like a coaching, he has a huge ADHD, and that time always like Sinatra help him to be like just listening like that. Or when he's starting streaming a lot and making the Super also streaming a lot. and he making the too much like a good synergy to the team vibe wise, and he making the strike good friend became to the striker, and striker is one of the toxic guy. But everything like he making the so much positive thing at the season 2, and Super grew up by that point by mechanic wise a lot of point, and like a lot of Super's thing come from the Sinatra. I can say that, but Super also have like a positive thing, but I think shock culture is most likely come from the Sinatra and Crossy, like a racism stuff like that, and hate the enemy like that. It's come from them. So that just isn't like he's good, but definitely Super is the one of the best guy. Yeah, he'll still answer me. So top one Sinatra, top two Super, fucking most. Oh, I know.
Really went on a tear there.
That's
I have a drunken most picture, but he hates to like show that.
I feel like the Uncoachable podcast would be the perfect format for that.
You
want to violate some guy's privacy?
If you not message me, I gotta post that shit on the Twitter.
Gun to his head.
Yeah,
that's a few in a row for you now, Hunter. No 3 quizzes in a row, I reckon.
Yeah, and Casares had me read as the guy that can't win a quiz.
Yeah, that's the same thing that NineK talks about with you need to get an enemy, you need to get that fire. Casares fired you up, and now you just...
That's bullshit. I was winning the quizzes before as well. He saw one episode where I lost. It's just Casares can't interpret sample sizes, dude. See what he did versus London? Oh, we won 2 maps. We can only play this. Daft cunt.
That was for you. All right.
So I need an enemy, is what you're saying.
That literally seems to be the case.
I'll work on rustling up a rival. All right then. So there's probably normally around this time we'd maybe talk about what is next, but I think the answer to that is nobody knows yet. So we're just
maybe next week we know
in a waiting room for more information, and we can move on to client of the week.
All right. I have a suggestion, but I'm struggling. I feel like my suggestion, I'm trying to... Do you have his Twitter? OGE? Do you have his Twitter?
Oh, yes.
I'm sure it's publicly available.
I'm searching it and I can't find it. So you must have like a...
It's probably blocked you, mate.
Oh, wait. I can probably find it through Wikipedia. Hold on.
I linked it in the chat.
Because I think OG has been trying to win Client of the Week for like a long, long time. And I think that we have not been giving him the service. So I feel like no one in Overwatch, except ironically me, has a job in Overwatch right now. No one is really getting paid. However, OG, who's been out of Overwatch for a long time, has decided that what he would do is just tweet every 2 days LFT in some sort of way. Sometimes he changes to Valorant, sometimes he wants to be a player or coach, but it seems like he tweets on such an unbelievably regular basis that it's like there's orgs looking and then they're going to see OG's tweet and he's just going to get a job. And I feel like this is like stereotypically client behavior. I feel like he deletes half the tweets. No,
he does, but if you keep scrolling, there's months of just random job begging. It's nearing like Opportunexy levels of just over and over again saying, please, can I have one more chance?
Oh, looking for Team Saudi.
Yeah, you keep going down. Yeah, LFT this. So I feel like doing a tweet every week saying that your LFT is really client behavior. And because not else has happened these last few weeks, I feel like my vote goes to friend of the show, who also deleted a tweet about us being racist about Koreans, actually, and then he deleted that one too. So I think...
He backed out very quickly.
Yeah, so I think right now, OG is my vote for Client of the Week.
Yeah, I'm one on that.
I think as well, there's also a thing that happens. If you keep saying you're looking for team, it actually ends up working against you. Because it very much brings to everyone's attention, and not only are you looking for team, but nobody's hired you all these months for anything. Because you've been constantly jobless, which ends up being a bit of almost an indictment of your hireability.
It's actually saying I've just kept scrolling. It just doesn't stop, right? Like from like September. Like he's just like tweeting.
Oh yeah, there's Wikipedia.
LFD is football player, so that was ambitious.
I think he
wants
the AI
to sign it. Oh, here we go. We maybe. Oh wait, he's asking to watch Valorant scrims.
So he still didn't have a job.
Yeah, there's
Are you
football
looking
player.
for team as football player?
Football player?
Maybe someone messaged him.
Pochettino messaged him, I'm pretty sure, after that tweet, yeah.
Yeah, must have come out of the army and then must have made about 20 different LFT tweets and still hasn't got a job.
I mean, you should check his Threads account. He's probably LFTing on there too.
Almost certainly. All right. So then, yeah, I think unless anyone has a better client, then I think...
No. Well, I think
I
he might have always been a client because there was this time at the 2019 World Cup where some of you know this story already. So we're at the 2019 World Cup and I'm there with Team UK and Kib is on the team at this one with Boombox, Mex, Cruz. And I think it's maybe the final day, so everyone's in the lobby a little bit hungover. The UK guys are all standing around in a circle. And then someone comes up and puts their hands on my hips. And it's like, in like a friendly way, but I'm like, what's going on? And it's OGE. And I've not spoken to OGE before in my life. But he's got his hands on my hips. And he's like, oh, sorry. I thought you were Kib. I'm looking for Kib.
Get a picture of Kib up.
Yeah, let me get a picture of Kib up and then do your side by side and see.
Let me see if anyone can spot the difference between me and Kib. They're quite subtle.
It is KYB, the guy who played Genji.
That's right, yeah.
So
I think that's impossible.
That's what I got. Obviously, it's from behind, right? So you can't see our faces, but one thing you can't see from this picture, you can already see some differences from more astute among you. But also, what you can't tell from this picture is Kib is like 2 feet taller than me and maybe 2 feet wider than me as well. So the ability to mistake me for Kib seems impossible. It seems impossible in any situation, but OGE managed it. And to this day, I couldn't tell you how he mistook me for Kib from any angle.
He just doesn't see colour, mate. That's it. He's just
all height, he's just blind. He's
He
legally
just doesn't
blind.
see anyone's characteristics in any way.
your personality, mate.
Me and
I mean,
Kib
if
have
he can't see that,
vibe, the same aura.
I mean, if he can't see the difference here, you really think he's going to see the writing on the wall with regards to his esports career? Like, get it.
Presumably, he thinks that one more tweet will do it. That's like the meme of like the gamblers that stop just before.
Yeah, no, just keep digging, mate. One more
tweet. And I get a drop.
Yeah, so I think that's a pretty definitive client of the week.
Yeah,
might take some beating, that one.
Yeah.
Then the only segment left is to rank the guest, where we place NineK and where we think he was compared to all the other guests. So, oh god, I'm gonna have to try quite hard now to remember our original rankings because I've not written it down. We should literally write it down somewhere. And a graphic, yeah, that's really things we could do. If I remember right, it's Goomba, Gator, Castoris, Astro, Danny, Shockwave, Haddy.
No, I think Shockwave.
I think I put Shock below. I put Shock at the bottom.
Haddy got off bottom for
Haddy. Okay.
Yeah.
I think if enough people subscribe to us on Patreon, maybe we can get a leaderboard for this end section. Maybe those funds will help us support it. Okay, so here's what I think. I think this podcast has actually been pretty good. I've enjoyed it. The problem is, NineK, you could have won. Do you know what I mean? I think you have enough stories from Shock this season, especially. You could have been our best guest ever. You could have went viral. We could have all become millionaires off of it. I think those decisions hold back. On Uncoachable, we cannot reward that type of behavior. If you're not willing to burn every bridge, then you're not for us. So I think I put him maybe slap bang in the middle, like above Danny, above Astro. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
I was thinking around Astro Casaurus.
Yeah, I thought above Casaurus even, just because I mean, Casaurus was good, but I feel like NineK he's brought some comic value. He's helped us beat the racist allegations by showing that we do actually have a Korean friend. I feel like he's brought a lot to the table here today, a lot of intangibles. So I'd put him above Casaurus.
Okay.
Are you guys talking this the front of me? Is it UK Kersher?
This is a segment. This is
every week. You see, We're not scared to burn bridges in front of the guests.
Yeah, you guys need to be bring up the picture and just moving around here.
Oh, you're in the
Yeah, I think I'm same page as Unter, above Cass.
Okay, then let's lock him in. Congratulations! I think that's a good scoring.
Yeah, no, that's a good place to be. Above Cass.
Yeah.
Can't relate. Unemployed.
The best paid man in esports. Well,
Yep,
Overwatch
the
esports.
only paid man in Overwatch esports.
Well, there's another one in the call right now.
That's me, guys.
Yeah. You're not like Cass. You don't do coaching documents, do you?
Yes. I do PowerPoints. That's what I do. Coaching PowerPoints. Not the same. All right.
GG.
GG.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, NineK.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day, guys.
Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, guys. We'd like to give a special thanks to our first supporter, our first subscriber, the Prince. We don't know the Prince of where, but he supported the channel and we're very grateful for it. And hopefully there's a bit more to come from this Prince character as well.
Thank you, Prince.
Thank you, Prince.